Spinning.
There we go.
We're live.
Right.
Hey. We are live. Fish North Georgia, the Livewell, episode 48. Kayak fishing is a way of life. Is it?
It is.
Fishing is a way of life.
It is now, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kayak fishing is a way to fish.
Yeah.
It's a way to get you on the water.
For you guys, it's a way of life.
It is. It is a little obsessive.
It is.
Just a little bit.
The guys that are into it hard.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I started out with a yellowfin 120, first boat I ever bought, and it was off running from there.
It's gone. That's all been downhill.
Yeah. Yeah.
You peaked right there at the beginning.
Yep.
So before we get too busy picking at each other and talking about plastic boats and catching fish, we'd like to welcome second. We'll start out with For Her Outdoor Apparel. One of our fine sponsors, Peyton and Jennifer. They make some excellent outdoor apparel for ladies and gentlemen. Well-known kayak angler Joseph Gayton often rocking For Her, including they also have the infamous ponytail hat. Ladies, if you need to put up the ponytail, Jeff Nail, you need to put up the ponytail.
Still waiting on the
George, if you want to,
still waiting on the ponytail beard holder.
Twist the beard around there.
Somehow
You'll be good to go.
She said last week, she said she was going to hook me up.
there you go.
They're anglers and they're producing some great gear out there, some awesome looking stuff for woods and water. And hey, they want you to know outdoors aren't just for him anymore; they're for her. So, to that, we would like to now welcome a new sponsor. Red Bobber Gear, making memories with the little red bobber. Is there anything like seeing a bobber go down? Does that ever get old?
No.
No.
I don't care
Like,
if it's a 2-inch brim or
if you don't like seeing a bobber go down, you don't like fishing anymore. You should probably it's time to hang them up.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's where all started, the bobber.
Dude, it's the beginning.
It still goes on right now.
It's the strike indicator if you turn to become a fly fisherman. So Red Bobber Gear, redbobbergear.com. We are happy to have them aboard, and we are excited to see where they go as they grow their brand and as we grow with them.
Local company located here in beautiful Canton, Georgia.
Beautiful Canton, Georgia.
Checked out their website earlier after it come up that they were a sponsor.
So,
Lots of good looking apparel.
Nice.
So
All right, Paul.
are we ready? We're down to business. We did business. We're doing business. We're down to business. We have an excellent panel here tonight. 3 guys that are out there doing the damn thing. We got to my left here, Mr. Dashawn Johnson. Say hello. Now he's bashful. So when Dashawn shows up at like captain's meeting or at weigh-in, that's when things get fun. He brings the fun with him. Loosen up, man.
I'm trying to.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. You got you Z Pro, you get Crescent.
Yeah.
Like, just imagine you're comfortable in your Crescent kayak.
I know,
hoodie,
right?
And just
I couldn't stay comfortable all day.
just floating. Just treat it like captain's meeting, dude. Just pick away.
Look, Deshaun. Speak.
What's
up, Dashawn?
What's up, Tim? What's up, guys?
Tim Mack.
So we got Dashawn. Across from Dashawn, we have Mr. Luis Andree, North Georgia fisherman to some.
What's going on, guys?
He's,
I am the new guy, so
the new guy.
yeah, I get the least amount of pressure. No, but yeah, it's awesome to be here. So
I mean, dude, you're out there. You're out there just doing it.
I'm trying. I'm trying to do
You've
it.
been all over the place. I've seen him like trying to catch my fish out behind my house on Lanier.
This is true. I did. We had a full conversation at like 7 a.m. the other day.
So yeah. Dude, keep putting in work. You're gonna go far. Like you're already catching fish.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And then of course you guys know the beard, Mr. George Smith.
Evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Joining us again. Gonna talk a little more in your comfort zone.
Yeah. Yep. I'm there.
I've seen
Kayak fishing.
So hopefully kayak world, I know a lot of the boaters. I've heard the term speed bump used before. But the kayak world's a little bit different. It's not quite so fast paced. But we do get to see a lot of different situations. I think it's the access is kind of the number one thing. we get to go a lot of places that we're not married to the big lake. You get to go places that other people don't get to go. You get to see things
Love
other
it.
people don't get to see.
Yeah.
You get to catch fish other people don't get to catch
regularly.
regularly.
Yep.
It's true.
And of course, like with the community we have in the area, like get to make a lot of friends along the way, like these guys. So we'll jump right into it. I'll start with George. And we'll just start with, how did you get into kayak fishing? Like what drew you that direction instead of another?
I ended up buying a house. February will be 4 years ago on the lower Etowah. The house just popped up. Me and Steph, my fiance, we were looking for a house at the time. Never in a million years thought that we would get the house, and everything worked out. Bought the house. Realized real quick that I wasn't going to be able to run a John boat or anything up the way I wanted to run it with all the rocks and everything in there. Immediately went straight to looking for a used kayak, just something I could put on the water and get into it first, just kayaking. And then with the kayaking, being on the river, seeing people float by with rods and stuff, I was like, well, I'm going to start catching fish. And it has been a downhill from there.
Yeah. Were you a fisherman before? Or?
Nope.
No. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
So you started at
that's
zero.
Yes.
Yeah,
I grew
rare
up.
breed right
I
there.
grew up
That's
on-
special.
I grew up on Lake Lanier, and you would walk behind my house and come into this little cove. And like we were talking about with red bobber, it was literally minnows and worms. And that was all I knew from fishing. And then I moved to another spot on Lake Lanier, and I became a recreational boater. Never cared anything about fishing unless I was sitting on the dock, with shad or whatever thrown out on the bottom or some chicken livers. That was it. But when I got into kayaks is when I got into fishing, like hardcore. I love it.
Just caught on.
Steph hates it because I'm watching the podcast on Thursday nights on the TV in the living room, or the Bassmasters on Saturdays and Sundays. It don't matter. I am all about it.
Just tired of hearing the tactical bass and
Tactical
drop.
Fluke Master Tactical Bass in Fish North, Georgia. Yeah, I even watched the podcast. I'll rewatch because I got a 2-hour drive in the mornings to my job. I'll put that thing on in the morning in the truck and just listen to it as I'm driving.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, and there is a lot of information.
Dude, there's a lot of information
that gets dropped on this show that people overlook.
Yeah. There's a lot of, then so your home water then is the Etowah.
Yeah,
So,
lower Etowah.
Lower Etowah. What stretch? Or just kind of generally.
You Harley.
That's below Tuna, right?
Yeah, below
Okay.
Tuna. My home stretch is really 113 to Hardin. So somewhere in that area. I'm in the middle. So if I'm dropping in the backyard, it's going to be from Harley Creek down to Hardin Bridge. And I don't fish that area during the summertime because there's an outfitter there that puts about 2,000 kayaks. I talked to him on Saturdays and Sundays. He puts 2,000 people a day on the river.
Wow.
Yes.
That's
So because
wild.
me and Steph were talking about buying the business from him, and then COVID hit and everybody got on the water.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, I'm not interested in selling.
I bet not.
At all. So I don't fish that stretch during the summertime. Because even if there are fish there, they're so sketched out from so many people and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'll go up and I'll fish from 113 down to Harley.
Okay.
So, get away. That's a 9-hour stretch. So
That's a stretch I would need 2 days to do.
yeah, and that takes away your recreational kayakers that don't want to be on the water that long. Gets me in an area where not a lot of people are.
Oh, that's part of the game.
Yep,
with the kayak,
absolutely.
for sure. So, Luis, what about you, man?
Yeah. So let's see how far back.
Because you were posting some stuff on Instagram today, like some humble beginnings. I think there was
Yeah.
a sit inside kayak with a couple rod holders bolted to it. And
Yeah. So for me, so you said you got into fishing, or when you got into kayak
Yep,
fishing.
4 years
But
ago.
I've been in love with fishing since I was a kid. So my dad, he brought the sport with him from Mexico. He lived like, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes from the river down there. So he would bike to the river, and when we'd go back every year, he'd take me with him. And so when we moved, over here, being by Lake Lanier, it was awesome. But we never had a boat or anything like that. I don't know anything about boats. No idea. I had no idea how to fish with artificial bait. And so one day, this really cool guy, I'll never forget his name. His name was Mark. he put a white Zoom trick worm in my hand. He took my dad and I down to the golf course pond where my dad was working. He said, cast it parallel to the bank. And he said, give it 3 twitches and just let it float down.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the most fun I've ever had. So,
Yeah.
But what got me into kayak fishing was actually COVID. So many people hit the water. So many people were out getting mountain bikes or kayaks. People were going outside, and I was watching a video one day, and this guy, he fishes up north, and he fishes for muskie and smallmouth bass.
Okay.
But he's got simple little setup, simple kayak, like an Ascend kayak, and I watched him do work.
Man,
and I was
think I ran across him on YouTube the
other
other day.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember.
I can't remember his name right now, but man, I saw that. I was like, you're telling me I could get on the water tomorrow if I had a kayak? Like, I could get on the water. I'm not fishing from the bank with like a book bag. And after that, I got a sun dolphin. Okay, like a little 8-foot sun dolphin. And then I told my wife, I was like, babe, this is not working. This is not working. Shout out to my wife. She's watching right now. She's very kind. And then after that, went to Academy, upgraded to 10-foot. And it was a Bass Pro 10-foot Ascend kayak. Mm-hmm. I couldn't stand on it. So I went back to my wife. I was like, this ain't gonna work. I'm so sorry. So then remember, this is within 2 years now. This isn't like a 5-year thing. It's like the last 2 years. And then I realized I went out with a buddy, Pal. If you're watching, shout out to Pal. He had pedal drive.
Oh,
I said, babe, this ain't working. This ain't working. I need a pedal drive. And then the next time we went out, he had a motor. And I said, babe. So it's like you said, it just terribly downhill.
It is downhill.
And here I am with you criminals now. So
that's bad influences.
Yeah, terrible, man.
So I got a question for you, Lewis, before we move on. Mm-hmm. When you were going back and fishing in Mexico and you were fishing in the river and stuff, what kind of fish were you catching down there?
Tilapia, largemouth bass.
I know Mexico's known for quality largemouth.
Yes. I'm telling you guys right now, Mexico has incredible bass. I mean, just footballs. I have friends down there. They'll send me pictures. It's like a 16-inch bass, like 3.5 pounds. I'm like, what are y'all feeding them? Like
tilapia.
Yeah, tilapia. Yeah, exactly.
That's what Ryan. You'd have to speak to this. That's what fuels Bacharach, isn't it?
I believe so.
That's there
you go.
The big like forage there.
Yeah, so
it's almost like a trout lake.
Yeah,
they just get or like Rocky where they eat those big giz all the time.
Yeah, one of my things right now, one of the most popular fisheries is over there by my parents' house, like 20 minutes away. It's called El Cuchillo, the knife. That's how it translates. Yeah. So I'm trying to find a way to get the kayak down there at some point. And I haven't told my wife, so we'll talk about that later.
Apparently, fishing in America is just not working, honey.
You'll be in South Africa catching a world record in no time.
Peacock bass.
But that's the beauty with kayak fishing. You got water. You can put that thing anywhere, and there's so many different models now for it. So yeah.
We got actually we floated the Chestatee the other day, and Andy Middleton had the inflatable Hobie board.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I was pretty taken. I was pretty taken with that. Like,
I'm a river.
It was interesting. We were way too far north for that Phoenix, Ryan.
Still. I'm a river.
Hobie board. I never seen that before.
It was really interesting.
Super light.
Super
light. I mean, I could just.
It was just one hand, pick it up, carry it
now,
down.
Does that one have the pedal drive in?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
It was a really slick
but it's not the links, right?
No,
it's
It was a super interesting setup. So Dashawn, Mr. Z Pro.
Mine started pretty much from bank fishing. Grandfather, first thing we started off with was spinning reel, and I always been fishing with artificial. And basically, he showed me how to throw it, and his first thing he said was, "If you mess this up, hey, that's the end of the fishing day. So I had a lot of days. I had a lot of days where the fishing days was pretty much cut short off of the first cast. Because with mono, man, if you got it on there and it lose memory and you throw it out there, it just and you're cutting all the line out, you pulling it out.
It's a rough day.
Yeah. So it was days like that. We always fish bass. That was all we did was fish bass. We used to fish in Winston at this place we lived in Winston. We fished at a place called Snake Creek Reservoir. And
that's at Winston, Georgia, or
Winston, Georgia.
Where the hell
Not
is
too.
it?
It's not that far from Carrollton. Not that far from Carrollton.
It's on the other side of Douglas.
It's probably a lot of people that don't know about Snake Creek, but Snake Creek, if you're looking for some like 5 pounds and up, that's where you're gonna go get them at. But
spot bird,
dude,
already throwing out the juice.
Hey, man.
Super early.
Nobody goes out there. But
Ryan needs a juice button every time someone drops. Just
there you go.
Just hit the
just
button.
tap it.
Yeah.
Juice button.
But that was one place where I learned how to fish.
On a brand for that.
I know where Winston is. Yeah, it's right in between Douglasville and Carrollton.
Bro, it's awesome fishing over there. I used to lose a lot of bass. I can't even tell you. I probably lost more fish than I ever caught. I could not set the hook. And it was all Texas rig. Could never set the hook on a fish. Just they'll be running with it, and I'm just reeling it in, and they'll hold on to it until I get them all the way in. And
panicking the entire time.
Yeah,
when is it time?
And then like never see the fish. He just comes off because he just spits the hook and everything. And I'm just like, dang. And that pretty much got me all started. And then kayak fishing. Basically, I was at work, and it was a guy named Tom that walked up to me and basically asked me about getting into kayak fishing. Well, we talked about fishing, and he talked about kayak fishing. Then he got me into that GK. What is it? Georgia fishing.
It's GKF.
Georgia Kayak Fishing.
Yeah.
No,
He got me.
it's not the league. It's
not the league. It's
just
the
regular GKF.
Yeah.
Oh, the community.
The social club.
Yeah,
the community.
yeah.
He got me into the community, and I was still bank fishing.
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking about getting a kayak. I was still bank fishing. And then, like, it was just one day, dude, I went to the lake, and the fish were just busting. And I couldn't get to them. Couldn't make a far enough cast. Had a bait caster and still couldn't get to them. And I'm just like, dude, maybe if I got a kayak.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm not going to get a bass boat because I got to put gas in it. And I was like, that's going to kill my vibe a lot. And I'm still in the I'm still in the Honda Civic, and I'm like, and I got to
kayak.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
Too.
Throw it
It's
on
like
a car and just go.
If you don't have like a truck for a boat or like you don't,
You can throw a kayak right on top of a Honda.
and just go.
on top
So
of a Toyota Corolla.
I went straight to work. Got a
top of
got
a Subaru
kayak.
Impreza.
Yes. I have done it, so it is possible.
That
You
13
can get
foot
rails.
Seacoast on top
You
of
can
the
always
Impreza,
get
bro.
rails for it.
It's
so
longer. It's longer than the car.
Yeah,
but
hell
it's
yeah.
up there. It's up there.
It'll get you where you need to go. I mean, look at me now. I'm going lake to lake
Yeah,
on the Civic.
Dude, I saw
$20.
I've seen that Civic in action.
Oh,
$20.
everywhere I go to meet Dashawn, I'm looking for the Civic. You got a Jeep too, right?
Yeah, I'm
you got
in
a Jeep. He
too.
doesn't ever drive. He's always in the Civic.
Yeah, I took the Jeep one time, and when I went from my house to Alabama, and I watched the gas handle just go all the way down, I was just like, yeah, nah, I'll take the Honda Civic every day.
Yeah,
and I'll just pack it in there, and then people will be like, yo, can I go it? No. I got the rod. I got the rods in the car and the trolling motors on the passenger side. There's no room for you.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much where it started at, and then I'm here now with the kayak fishing. So I ain't looking
caught fire.
Yeah,
trying to catch fire.
That's where it started at, and he has become a straight hammer
Trying
since then.
Yeah.
Don't let Dashawn be humble. He is.
Yeah,
Got
It's
very
true.
humble.
This
Got
is true.
it.
Yeah.
You know, if he's in the same tournament you're in, your work is cut out for you right off the bat.
I don't know about
I know
that.
I'm gonna have a good time.
I love
captain's meeting and it weigh in.
So I love coming off the water. You know, you do that thing. I think a lot of us do. We come off the water. We're checking like Instagram or Facebook, seeing what the weekend warriors are doing. I'm coming off the water with like 5-7 fish, and then I look at Dashawn. Oh yeah, so caught 30 plus fish today, and I was like, man, what do I have to do, Dashawn?
You were feeling good about yourself until
I was
this
feeling
got
great,
you
man.
Yo, Kai Wong in the comments. What's up, Kai?
Oh, that's
Oh,
You can come
God.
up here sometime.
yeah. Kai is sensei. I call Kai
sensei.
sensei. Yeah, he's also a terrible influence. I mean, terrible influence.
As long as he's not senpai.
He's always sharing like hey, did you see this dropped? And I'm like, I don't want to see it. I don't need to see it.
Oh, he's the source of your gear addiction. He's the gear enabler.
Yeah. He's the one, man.
I met Kai the first time on were we on Oconee, Kai? I think we were. We were both practicing the day before our tournament down there. And we just happened to get in, same ramp and all that. Yeah. Kai's a good dude.
Yeah.
Enjoy fishing with
He's a
Kai.
super solid guy.
I seen that
Oh,
one live on the
dude.
444 with him, and he was just dropping
Oh,
dimes.
what's up, Eric? Atypical Outdoors.
Yes,
Awesome
sir.
kayak fisherman also.
He is.
Always on the river.
He's an
doing work.
accomplished angler, just like straight up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Mr. Giant shoal bass, Atypical Outdoors.
Yeah, Mr. Giant.
Some tank shoal bass, dude.
It's crazy. I've been watching that dude since he started his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I didn't know who he was or nothing. I was just watching him. Like, I think I looked up one day, like a long time ago, Georgia fishing something. I was trying to like learn different areas, and then he just popped up, and I've been watching him ever since then.
Yeah. Giant swim baits in the river. He's always doing some kind of damage. Yeah. And there's
Speaking of, you're tight with Randolph?
local Lanier hooker. That's my boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the man right there.
That's a good friend to have, man.
Yeah.
Love Chris. Chris, again, where you been? Come up here. Spend some time with us. I know the night bite's getting good, but
Man.
come on now.
See, and that's another thing about kayak fishing. You look at the comments and you see the people that pull up. Most people don't have anything bad to say about those people. I mean, we're a pretty tight knit community. Once we meet each other for the first time, it's buddy from there on out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
No, you know those guys.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I do. That's what I like about the river game.
Yeah.
yes.
He's out on the
Out
water
here
right
right
now.
now.
Oh my God. Y'all see this guy?
Get some.
Man, I can't wait for the post. I already know what he's
we'll
gonna
see.
have.
We'll
It's
see
gonna
the
be,
post later.
30-pound striper.
3-inch cast prodigy.
That's right. Yeah.
And there is going to be a largemouth, and it is going to be 6'8".
There you go.
Oh,
He's gonna have
There
more
you
than
go.
that.
Oh,
large
I'm
mouth.
gonna
Just a little bit of
call a
pressure.
shot for- I'm gonna
Just
call
a
a
little
shot
bit of
for him.
pressure.
He's gonna
for
have
Chris.
more than that. He's gonna have a freaking 14-inch crappie. He has like a mixed bag, 14-inch crappie, like trophy size everything.
A
14-inch crappie, 30-pound striper,
Yeah.
almost like an 8-pound largemouth. Who's
Good
the
dude.
other dude that fished with him? I know his name is like, is it Latrell or something?
See,
like
look
that?
right there. Chris will catch them at 2 a.m. when it's 12. I have been out there on
It's
his
miserable.
boat, and it is cold. I mean,
Dude, At
It is
night,
cold.
like late night, it's a different kind of cold
Yeah.
too.
especially on the water.
January, February,
9.5 stripers.
and he'll hit. So, I know we're talking about kayaks, but the first time, I went out on the boat with him, I mean, we're hitting just top speed in like 30, 20 degree weather, middle of the night. My face is just like frozen.
Your eyes,
Can't
the
move.
tears
Can't
coming out of
see
your eyes are
anything.
frozen to your cheek.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Ugh,
There he is, Banks and Eddies.
thanks.
That's what I'm talking about right
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
He be
that's
on,
Latrell.
hey, he,
Latrell.
yeah,
Latrell, yeah,
he be
shout
on
out.
his stuff
He's
too.
got game
Yeah.
too.
He is on his stuff
A
too.
lot of knowledge there, yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, a lot of river knowledge there too. Yeah.
Dude.
Solid guys.
Dude, proof's in the pudding for sure.
Solid guys.
So did everybody fish a tournament league this year? I mean, I know you.
I only
Appalachian.
fished
Yeah.
a couple. I didn't fish a
Couple,
league.
You fished Peach
I dipped
State?
a little bit. Yeah, Peach State,
Yeah.
Georgia
Yep.
Kayak. Yeah.
I think I did Georgia Kayak and AKFL,
Yeah.
just a few events.
Yeah, good.
Was this
groups
your
to fish
first
with.
year, Lewis, fishing a full tournament
Yeah,
trail,
this was
or
my first year.
mine too?
Great experience too. I didn't have a single bad experience out there with everybody, with the groups, or it was good.
Absolutely. And
So-
the thing about kayak fishing and doing the tournaments and all that is you always learn. You're going to learn every
Yeah.
time. The more tournaments you do, even if you're just getting into it, the more tournaments you do, you always come out with a different mindset, a different way to
Yeah.
approach the next one. How can I be better? How can I step up to the level of, these other guys that
The
call
guys that are ahead of you.
95, the
95 plus
Kai
inches.
Wongs,
Yeah,
the Kai Wong, Charles Shellnut,
Was that
those
Kai
guys.
that put up 95 on the near? I think that was Steve.
I think
Well,
it was Steve.
it was
There was
yeah.
some.
Steve.
There was
Steve,
some
there's
huge,
another one.
Yeah, there's
So-
some huge stringers on the near.
So
earlier this year.
95 inches for those who don't know. How many pounds we talking? 95
18,
inches.
18,
20.
Yeah.
Like you're pushing.
100 inches is 20 pounds.
Yeah.
on-
Yeah.
I don't know. Like a fishery like Lanier, like has heavy fish. Like,
Yeah.
like most of our fish are in pretty good condition. Like once you're pushing 100 with a stringer of spots, like,
Yeah.
you're surely close to 20. You
Yeah.
can't not be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kai Wong only catches dinks.
Yeah. Yeah, all right.
I mean,
You're over 20.
and
We're not close to 20.
and
You're over 20.
then he calls those dinks.
Yeah.
Like Ryan, you think that's over 20?
It's over 20.
Yeah. It's Linear has heavy
Yeah.
fish. You don't see a lot of the snaky ones.
A typical,
Uh-oh.
a typical healthy linear spot that's 17 to 18 inches long is well over 3 pounds.
Yeah.
So, you add that up over 5 fish, that's not even 100 inches.
Yeah, that's
That's 90 is a good
Mid-
bag.
90s there.
yeah, mid 90s.
So you
Yeah,
got
mid
a
90s.
stringer of 3.5 pounders, and you've got 17 pounds.
Yeah.
If you bust 100, you're well over 20 pounds.
I gotta ask this question right now for the kayak anglers, because I'm the rookie. I'm the first one out here doing the tournament trail this year. So I always hear this argument when I go to a tournament. Some people go look for the spots, and then some people go look for the largies. You guys, tournament day, what are y'all looking for if you've got spots and largies in play?
On Lanier?
Depends on where I'm at.
Any fishery,
Any
like
fish-
Hartwell, and
That's what time of year it is.
It depends where I'm at. If it's
Really?
springtime, it's all gonna be largemouth because that's so easy. That's an easy setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But see, some people say, well, I'm looking for spots because especially like you got those spots on Lanier that are super long. And that's
Yeah.
what we're
They're
not
just
necessarily
big-
looking for
They're just big fish.
heavy fish. We're looking
Yeah.
for long
Yeah.
fish.
Yep.
And some people just overall go look for largies because they're overall bigger.
They tend to be.
Yeah, they tend to be bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Depends on I think it depends on the fishery. For me, it depends on like the likelihood of like, are you looking for a tank largemouth for a kicker
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just like to build your base on spots? Some of that for me like starts like map work. You need
yeah.
time of
Yeah.
year, like accessibility, like because Lanier especially, which is home for me. And when I think about like a fishery where I want to try and do both on the same day, that's kind of the place I go to. You're thinking about like the habitat, like where am I going to find spots? Where am I going to find largemouth? Where can I find those two conditions
Close together.
close to each
In a
other?
kayak.
Yeah, closer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like within a mile or two.
Yep.
And then how many spots kind of in that area do I think might produce?
Do I have a full day fishing the area I'm going to choose?
Yeah.
That's another thing you got to look at.
Also, you can run around on Lanier a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ramps.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
And I think it's not all lakes are like that. Like a lake like Chattooga that's only got a handful of ramps. Like
Yeah. You better pick your
that
better
first
pick
one
it
you better
first.
Yeah,
that
it
first one you
matters.
better
Yeah,
pick
it
right,
matters.
baby.
Yeah.
Like,
I always start out
or
like-
like Notley's only got 2 or 3 ramps. You fish Notley, like you better
Blue-
pick right.
Blue
Yeah.
Ridge.
yeah.
It's
Blue
only
Ridge.
like
Oh,
2
Blue
on
Yeah,
Blue
Blue,
Ridge.
Yeah,
Blue
Blue
Ridge
Ridge.
has like 3, and then when they take it down, it's like 1.
The main.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the
super long
main.
one.
Yeah, the main
I was
one.
out there last year. Yeah, it was super cold.
I always fish whenever I'm going out to fish. I am trying to fill my bag with spots. Of course. Like
Yeah.
immediately.
But you're an Etowah guy too. Like a bag of spots to you is like just like 5 gigantic fish.
I take them because they're more likely to bite first.
Yeah, and you're more likely to catch more spots in one area
Yeah,
than largemouth.
in the wintertime
Yeah.
especially too.
Yeah,
when it's
I'll
stacked.
pick and I'll go someplace. I usually, when I'm putting my boat in at the ramp, I want to find a place that's got a couple of points coming off. And then once you get past around them points, you're going to be going into creeks, backs of coves, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you're a shallow. I've seen you in action. You're a shallow water fisherman.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You don't want to be out there in the abyss.
yeah, no.
Yeah.
Me and Paul fished a tournament together.
I'm the exact
on my boat.
I'm the exact opposite of that, dude. Like I am comfortable out there in the middle of nowhere.
Well, that's why I bought the boat, was so I could get comfortable out there fishing the humps and the shallow points and stuff like that. And I have been probably for the last 2 months focusing strictly on open
That
water
open
fishing.
water.
Yep.
Yeah. That's
I'm trying to get better at it.
Mhm.
Do you have to use a ramp or can you portage on public land? Typically for a tournament, you're going to have to launch from somewhere that anyone can launch from.
Is that you can pull off on the side of the road at a bridge as long as other people can do that same thing.
As long as it's
Yeah.
publicly.
Yeah.
As long as it's public. Yeah.
Yep.
Like a
It
reservoir.
doesn't have to be a boat ramp.
Yeah, a reservoir typically it's going to be like a linear. Typically, they want to see you go out of a real boat ramp. They don't want you like cutting through anybody's backyard or anything crazy like that. But just in terms of fun fishing, access is access.
Yeah. That's true.
Not everybody is a tournament fisherman.
Yeah.
I got some places I will go when I'm not in tournaments where I got to lower my kayak down an embankment. And the only thing I'm worried about is getting it down there and getting fishing. And then when I'm ready and I'm done, I'm like, okay, how am I going to get it back up?
Yeah.
That is a spot I used to go out of on the tailwater a lot, trout fishing. That was like that. It started out really nice, and then we had years where they generated really heavy, and it blew that bank away. And I went out of there one time, and I almost couldn't get the boat out on the way up. And I was like, I guess this one's done.
Yeah, it's.
I went over scouting. I was looking for a new place to fish since I'm building that job over in Sugar Hill, and you know where the Chattahoochee crosses under 20. They've got that little pull off on the side over there. It's got a sidewalk that goes down there. And I was like, oh man, that might be the perfect place
you
for
can
me.
find a sidewalk to cart everything down.
Well,
I've carted mine down like the bottom ramp at like.
That sidewalk goes it goes all the way down and cuts up under the bridge. But the problem is that when you get down there to the water, it's 35 foot straight down to the water.
Right.
Like, and I'm like, yeah, I guess this isn't the place I'm going to put in my.
I mean, if they're pushing water, it's right there. It is astonishing how much the water level changes on that tailwater below Buford when they push. Like, we had shad kill one year, and I'll never forget this. Like, and they had been pulling a lot of herring and a lot of threads through the dam. And I went on a weekend, and I went down to a spot that I usually fished, and there were herring in the bushes, like 10 feet above like water level.
Wow. That's insane.
And it gives you an appreciation for when they open Buford up and they say, 750 is done, here's 12,000, like exactly how much water that is.
So I think we've got
we'll circle back. Jeremiah had a question about kayak tournaments being mostly online. Yes, they are. That's kind of become the accepted way to do it, just in terms of allowing people to kind of have access and not to have to like run around and meet up.
But there's still like a few.
There's still a few like AKFL,
especially at the reservoirs. Where the bigger boats, the bigger engines aren't allowed.
Yeah, like you'll see, like over like a Latham or a
hard
Hickory
labor,
or hard labor. There's one ramp. You're gonna see everybody.
Yeah.
Like, those are the ones that I like better.
You'll see like 30 John boats and then a bunch of little kayaks taking off. Yeah.
Going back to the Chattahoochee and the elevation change in the water and stuff, I'll be remiss if I don't say
massive.
this. That is the one thing about fishing in a kayak.
Yeah.
You're going to be fishing areas, like we said earlier, that's not open to boats or anything like that. Safety is of the utmost importance.
Crucial.
I mean, when you're fishing a river and they start releasing out of Lake Lanier, out of the dam,
well, it's like
that water changes instantly.
Yeah.
It's understanding like river fishing, especially. It's understanding what kind of river that is. Like the Lanier tailwater, like it has essentially two states, on and off. Like it is either low water or it is
like barreling through,
or it is cranking. It's not like a Freestone River, like you talk about the Chattahoochee or the Chestatee above Lanier, where you're subject to water levels based on how much rainfall.
Yes.
And those can still fluctuate wildly.
Yes.
We did a fun float on the Chestatee earlier this year after it had rained heavy. And we ran into a guy on the way down. And he was like camped on like the riverbank in a really weird sort of spot. And like 2 days later, we saw a post on Facebook. Have you seen this guy? And we're like, oh man. Yeah, we have seen that guy. We totally saw him. And they were looking for him. He'd got caught up. We'd gotten another blast of rain. The river came up another 3 feet. And he'd at least had the good sense to just get on his kayak and ride it down and find a place to pull off and ride it out. But that change can be really quick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially like a small river like the Chestatee, like the difference between 150 CFS and 500 CFS is gigantic.
Yeah. Or the Upper Etowah, same way. You have the same narrow, a narrow riverway. Yep.
Yeah. So I think that's always something to concern. And it's like Josh Tatum's in the house with us tonight. Josh and I learned an important lesson about reading gauges a few weeks ago on the Flint. We went out for a 2-day float, and like we knew it was going to be low and slow, and we didn't understand quite how low and slow. And the first night we missed our campsite by about 3 miles.
Oh, okay.
3 miles short, and then had to make
then
had to make all that up on the second day, dragging over every shoal.
Wow.
And it was wild.
But they were munching.
And
that is all that matters.
And that'll make up for everything.
Every spot we went that still had enough water to have fish.
Yeah. But see so if you kayak fish on the river, you got to stay, and we know you got to stay on the weather app. You got to have your river apps if you have them available. Check that flow always.
So, Kai Wong, 5th annual charity tournament at Hard Labor Reservoir for Country Kids Christmas this Saturday. Outstanding. Any of y'all fishing that?
I am not.
I might be able to go. I'm not sure yet.
For the first time, me and my son, we do a hunting trip every year on a WMA, and it's always this weekend. So
nice.
I'll be in the woods for the first time this year.
Well, good luck.
Go.
Yep.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Deshawn, you jumping in that one?
Which one? I'll be at work. I know I'll be at work for this one. Cabela's.
Cabela's.
Oh,
we can come see. We can come see you
Yeah,
at Cabela's.
you can come see me at Cabela's.
Which
Visit
department are you in?
Deshawn for a very special discount at Cabela's.
I'll give y'all one guess what department Deshawn's in.
You already know.
It's ladies' apparel, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Deshawn.
So you mean I could find somebody in fishing that actually knows something about fishing?
Oh, don't get me started on that.
Oh, this guy right.
But I'll say this also. I give a lot of my fishing experience and me getting into fishing to Dashawn. I met him at Cabela's after seeing his post on Facebook and stuff like that. I went up there and didn't even know he worked there, recognized him and started talking to him. And hell, we've been fishing together for 3 years now.
It all started with a Helix 5.
Yep, it did.
Ooh.
It did. A Helix 5 on my Seaghost 130.
Me and you both had a Helix 5.
Yep.
And it went from there.
What do you have now, Deshawn?
Helix 8 with Megaloft.
Yeah. Little upgrade.
So if you're not scoping, you're what?
Hoping pretty much. Only reason I use the scope is honestly to just get on top of brush piles with a spoon. I mean, you know I'm on that spoon bite.
Oh yeah.
That's all I like right there right now.
Or a brush pile with a drop shot.
Yeah.
But do you spoon through a bigger part of the year than most people?
I just learned it.
Okay.
Like summertime.
So it's like that's become the weapon.
Yeah, summertime. I just learned it. Me and a buddy named Keith, we was out at tuna and we seen fish in like 60 feet of water, and dude, we couldn't get them to hit nothing. Drop a drop shot down to them, and it's like they're right here, and it just goes right past them. They don't even move. And then I dropped the spoon, and it just went crazy. I mean, we threw everything. You know, I take like 6-7 rods with me, and I used everything. And I was like, man, screw it. Went in there, grabbed the spoon, dropped it down, and they just all like came out of nowhere, and it was this thing of stripers. And then ever since that, it's spoon fishing since.
Yep.
And then I'll sit there and just go around and look for brush piles, and you can drop a spoon in the brush pile, and you'll get hung, but you won't really get hung like how you think.
You got to learn the little jiggle with the spoon.
If you shake it just right, it'll come right out.
I have seen that jiggle. I've seen that from a legend on Alatuna. And I was like, oh, okay, there we go. Because I was always worried about dropping straight down. But after seeing him do it, I was like, there you go.
Dude, it's an art.
It is.
Like once you learn how to do it, though.
I want to learn Demiki. It's supposed to be the same exact thing. But, dude, if I use a Demiki rig, I haven't got hit on it yet at all.
I've played with it a little. I can't say I've had much success, but I'd rather throw a spoon when they're on the ditch bite.
I just know if they grab a spoon, they spit it real quick. They're never gonna hold it.
Yeah, you got to hit them.
So you gotta be
in a hurry.
Yeah.
Well, a spoon, it fools their eyes, right? It doesn't really fool their other senses.
Yeah, not at all.
They're like, this is a
unless
piece
they
of
just
metal.
really stupid.
that metallic is real evident real quick.
What spoon are you using, Deshawn?
Cotton Cordell's, cheapest ones you can get. Cheapest ones you can get. But
either of y'all spoon guys?
Honestly, not really, man.
Not really?
I really throw more. I have always got a blade bait tied on.
Oh, your
Except-
blade bait
except-
guy.
blade bait.
Except for in the spring.
Blades
Yep.
are back in a big way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've always got a blade, either the mega bass or the. Oh my gosh, what's the brand? I forgot it. That's all right. I'll think of it later. Really, I just don't want to give it to y'all, but I really forgot it.
He's gonna keep the
I got to
juice.
think through it.
No, I'm a power fisherman. I don't like dropping a spoon. I am getting better on a shaky head. Like
I don't know if I'd say
Power beard, power fish.
Power
beard.
That's
Power
a
fish.
that's a
Beard.
tagline.
I'm gonna beat the banks up and
See, I don't know if
Go
you.
that way.
I don't know if you would. If I would say that like popping a spoon is really a finessey. Like when they're willing to react to it, dude, and you're just like cranking that spoon, like
That's my second go-to. Like I start off beating the banks anyway, and then if I can't get nothing off the banks, then I just come offshore.
Yeah,
because everybody else is not going to do it. So it's like I got the equipment to do it. Why not use it the
absolutely
right way?
There it is, Kai. I told y'all he was a terrible influence. The Mickey vault. Yep. Yep.
Is it the
The
one with
Mickey
with the blade on the back?
No,
It's not the axe blade.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
Mm-mm. The Mickey
What
vault.
6 cent spoons?
I've
Man,
seen those.
Man, that giant 6-cent spoon.
What about the little ones?
I haven't used little ones.
I haven't used the little ones either.
Yeah.
The
We-
little ones look really good.
if I
Yeah,
can get my
they do
hands
look
on them
good, yeah.
without trying to order them,
I have them, but I haven't used them. That's I still got to get
You-
my confidence.
you
up.
know you work at a place that says that they're the world's
no,
foremost outfitter.
they don't have them.
No, they're
They don't have them.
no, they're the foremost outfitter for the brands
We
that
don't
you've been
have
seeing for 30 years. You want some Strike King KVD stuff? Absolutely the place to go.
I might.
Absolutely the place to go.
I shop a lot outside of work, a lot. And then if I need like a mega bass or something like that, something simple, I get it from work.
Yeah.
Hooks.
Yeah.
Weights.
Hooks.
But other than that,
It's
like
a
I
bass,
don't.
bass amateur shop.
Yeah.
You don't take advantage of your 30% discount?
You get a 30%. You get a 30% discount.
40, 50.
I just want to work like
Well, yeah,
2 hours a week.
what kind of hours do I need to put in to get that?
I'm gonna put my list together right now for you, man.
Don't worry, I got you.
Buy it
I got
right
you for
now.
Christmas. I got
No.
you for Christmas.
No.
There's my one.
Uh-oh. What'd you do there,
The
Ron?
ice fishing
Uh-oh.
jigs. That's the second time that's been
Yeah, that's I've
Yes.
mentioned
yeah.
recently.
I've heard that a
That
couple of times myself.
cat might be coming out of the bag.
He's sharing all the sauce, ain't he?
Ice fishing jigs. Yeah, doesn't hold back.
Jeremiah's a tackle junkie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ben Necklace, Mega
The
Spoon.
mag spoons.
Yeah.
We might find ourselves discussing that somewhat next week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The big giant spoons.
Nice.
Oh, the big giant spoon, like the flutter spoon caught on in a big way this year. Like that was this year's blade bait, I thought, in a lot of ways.
We've been throwing them for years.
Well, I mean, no, it was just in bass fishing in general. I felt like the blade bait came back, and then all of a sudden the flutter spoon was the rage this year. Everyone was, flutter spoon all the time. The tailspin. Jonathan Farmer, are you out there throwing little Georges?
When they're on the small bait in the fall.
I almost
That-
remember
that
somebody
threat's
telling me
invite.
that last weekend up here, Jonathan. Somebody mentioned up a little tailspin action. I don't know who that was.
Where's you guys' where's y'all's dream kayak destination?
Ooh.
Oh man, I'd have to say I'm gonna go big time here, and I'm gonna have to go with Columbia for peacock bass. Down.
The
that's-
Amazon? They got
Yes.
crocodiles down there. I don't know if I'm
Yes.
about that.
Yeah.
Listen, man.
Cayman.
You're different.
Listen,
Yes.
man. Those river guides, it's all good.
Yeah.
They can hold it down. It's all right.
I went 2 years ago. I went down to Miami and did some peacock bass fishing down there. And the guy that I used at the time, excuse me, he goes down to Brazil once a year.
Well, they got the real ones down there.
Yeah.
Like,
And he caught,
Yeah.
the South Florida variety is one of the smaller ones.
yes,
right?
yes,
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
And
He hooked in, and I saw pictures. He sent them to me. A 22-pound peacock, 22 pounds. Now to keep that in mind, when I was down there on my guided trip, I caught a 7.5 pound, and I was 1.5 pounds off the state record.
Yeah.
In Florida.
Nice.
So
Well, there's
that's the difference.
yeah. Well, it's like
Yeah.
there's a bunch of different species of them. And
Yeah,
like,
there's
Yeah.
a
the one in
variety.
Florida is
Butterfly.
a smaller one than the
Mhm.
like really just like tank ones. you
And
see
I
in
think the
Amazon.
ones in Florida have better colors.
It's what butterfly peacock down there, right?
I think
Yeah.
so.
Because
Yeah.
you got butterfly, speckled, and all these
Yeah.
And
crazy
you get the
color
big boys,
ones.
yeah.
The ones down in Florida, the bright orange bellies, the real vibrant colors.
Yeah.
You get down into Brazil and the Amazon and stuff,
Oh, they're
they're the more
different.
the dark green with
Yeah.
the dark brown stripes on them and stuff.
Stuff. What about you, Dashawn? Where's your dream destination to splash the boat and float?
I don't have one. I really don't.
Boom.
I really
You haven't
don't.
thought about
You've
it?
never thought
He
of a
just
place.
hasn't thought about it yet.
What?
Other
Okay,
than
if
maybe that what's that is it I think it's Sinclair, the one with all the
Smallmouth?
smallmouth. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the one. Is that the one when they be using like the little
The floggers?
The flogger, yeah.
yeah, that's the
How,
lake
how
there.
you going to lean over the side of your kayak and use a flogger?
Well, I'm not gonna use a flogger. I mean, I would love to,
Dude, you could do that in pretty much any of the Great Lakes. So maybe Erie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I just
Yeah.
the only thing that gets me about that going there with a kayak is when I do see the wind and how those guys have to fish with that
Yeah.
wind. I'm not about
Uh,
it.
Some of the
It's
guys
brutal up
kneeling
there.
on the front of the
Yeah, no,
boat
yeah,
just so they can.
like
Yeah.
they're sitting there on the trolling motor and they're just going up and down,
Mhm.
Down.
up and down, and like it
Yeah.
ain't nothing.
Yeah.
I'm not about to do that.
Now in a kayak, that's a whole different
Yeah.
ball.
I almost
right.
died at Carter's. I'm not
Yeah.
Devil's River in
Devil's
Texas.
River in Texas. Hey, I've heard good things about
Yeah.
that. Yeah. I've heard
I haven't
good
heard.
things
I've
about
never
that
heard
place.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's the,
I've
what's the
heard
deal
of
with it?
Never heard
Yeah,
of it.
there's-
It's a great fishery.
Yeah, great fishery.
Yeah.
Like
Apparently,
bass
yeah.
or
It's it's bass, but there's some other
like tiger muskies or something crazy in there?
I
They've
can't
got
remember.
big largies.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got big largies.
Devil's River.
Tatum's a bass head. Like
Where's George want to go?
If I had to pick one that's reasonable, it would probably be a smallmouth trip up north somewhere,
Yeah.
Dale
Yeah.
Hollow.
Yeah.
Dale Hollow, somewhere
That'd be
like that.
cool.
Where
Well, we
you
can make that happen.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's-
we're
that's-
talking
that's within
here.
striking
Yeah,
distance. You can
yeah,
go do that
that's
next week.
realistically.
that-
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
4 hours away. That's realistic. But if I had something just ultimate, it would definitely be going down to Panama and do like a black marlin out in the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it would be cool to do Baja and do like rooster fish.
Yeah.
Some of the kind of the in-store stuff
Yeah.
down there. It's pretty wild.
I really want to get my kayak out into the salt water, but
Yeah.
man,
It's
That's a
still-
different.
You don't trust it?
It's big.
I've just seen so many videos of guys like they're pulling something up and here comes a shark. And
Oh yeah.
so we're sitting here talking
So,
about how
so you feel about sharks the way that I feel about like alligators and
Yeah,
crocodiles.
there it is.
Like,
You
I don't want to be that close.
Trying to go down there. You trying to do inshore or you trying to go off?
I'm trying to go off a little bit.
Okay.
Huh?
Not crocodiles on this side of the world.
Alligators.
Yeah, there is, man. There's salt.
Yeah.
Dude, there's saltwater
Yeah.
crocodiles in Florida.
they are. They've started.
Yeah,
They've actually started migrating up there, Ron.
Global warming.
Yeah.
All right, we got some more questions.
What we got? What we
All
got?
right.
Right there.
Who has scope? That's a
I do not.
Oh yeah.
Are you scoping
I've
too?
got active target. Yes, I'm.
Oh, way to play the way to
I'm
like.
so
play
sorry,
that.
everybody. I would just like to.
All
take-
right, gentlemen. There's a question. For
I'd like to
you.
take this moment to apologize. No, the way I've got it mounted. Let's see. I've got the 9-inch on my Slayer Max. So
93 SV.
yeah, overall, it's
That's what I've got.
it's a
He's Lawrence.
Oh,
Lawrence,
okay.
no,
I-
Lawrence,
active
I
target.
observe very
Yeah.
good. I watch all his
Yeah.
posts. I know
Yeah.
it.
FS9 Elite.
Yeah.
I know everything he got.
So
I just look in the background of his pictures to see where he's at.
Nah,
He's
that's,
off my
that's your
dock.
backyard. That's off
It
your
is-
dock.
Half
Yeah.
the time it is.
Yeah, that's off your dock. But yeah, so I've got it the way. Shout out to Mike for with the rigging and everything. So I had to upgrade from the Vibe Shearwater to the Slayer because the Shearwater for me it just wasn't stable enough. So I'm right at 6'1", 200 pounds, and I was not feeling it.
Too much wobble.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, for me, yeah, I just
Okay.
man.
Dude, that's a really different thing. We'll have to talk about that once we get.
Yeah,
to
and then
this live
the
scope.
Shearwater, so the Slayer runs deeper into the water. So when you're standing up, your feet are actually below water.
Yeah.
So I feel safer, more stable, especially if I'm like on Lanier, Hartwell, or wherever.
Yeah, somewhere you got.
So I've got
boats.
active target on literally my seat is right here. I've got active target right beside me. So I'm looking right here. And then on the right side, I'm kind of dispatching the transducer with a Yak Attack
Switchblade.
GoPro camera mount.
Ah.
Yeah. So Mike reconfigured it to where I could just drop it down and then
Are we
move around.
shouting out Mike Minivan
Yeah.
here?
Oh,
we are
Mike,
giving
yeah,
Mike
minivan.
for sure. We're
Shout
giving
out
Mike
to
a
Mike.
shout out
He did my life too.
because that was his idea. So
Well, now we know who to go to.
Yeah.
Mike
Manavan is he's gotten to be a big wheel in the community. He's a super good guy. Westford
Yeah,
Supply
super good
Company,
guy.
shout out.
great guy, good dude.
Any kind of rigging you could imagine for a kayak.
Yeah.
That's probably the spot, and he's probably the guy.
Absolutely.
Deshawn, we got another question for you. You're a popular guy, man.
I use normally a medium. I'm just learning it. So I started off with medium heavies and I kept ripping it out their mouth. So I went down to a medium, but realistically, I probably need to go down to a medium light because I'm using the smaller spoons. So a medium and like a 7.5-to-1 ratio reel. And that's pretty much it.
So that's on bait casting tackle then.
Yeah, it's on bait.
Oh wow.
Okay.
And then I'm using mono. I could just run. I don't want to do fluorocarbon, but I want to use like braid the mono, but it's probably pointless at this point. So I just use straight mono. I'm still trying to learn this spoon game. So far, it's looking good, but realistically,
you're posting them up.
hey, realistically, if y'all can see the background in the videos, it's a lot of bleeps in that whole. Like every video that I have has a lot of bleeps because I lose so much fish on a spoon. Carter's yesterday, dude, I lost more than I can. I probably caught 20, but I probably lost 40.
Yeah.
Like just sitting there, setting the hook, they're there, then they're gone. And it's just like, so that's what I'm using right now.
You got to be really quick with the spoon.
It sucks.
Stretch there, Deshawn.
Yeah, that's what it sounds.
Yeah.
So you think I need to go to fluoro?
Braid, and you need to stick them.
Braid and just
Yeah.
rip their head off.
That bite happens so quick
It
with that
is.
spoon too. Like it happens and it's over.
Or braid the fluoro leader, something where you don't have
Yeah.
as much stretch. I say braid the fluoro leader, but I don't throw a leader on anything I got.
Really?
Nope. I don't throw a leader at all.
You straight braid all the time?
No. I'll use fluoro for stuff
So it's
that I
either
want to get.
either straight fluoro or straight braid.
Yep. If I'm throwing top water, I'm usually throwing a braid.
Yeah.
Yep. If I'm throwing,
So I would want the leader on top water because like a walking bait, you don't want it to walk over the braid.
Yeah.
You need
I don't-
like,
I don't
Huh?
ever.
hey,
Haywood.
Alright, we got a question.
Yeah. Keep them coming.
Questions.
Yeah.
Chase Key.
Seem to remember Drew Gregory taking a bull shad into those untraveled areas and catching giant bass on it out of kayaks a few years ago. Are any of you guys throwing the big stuff in the backwaters?
I'm starting to.
I'm not
Starting
above
to
it.
throw the
That
big
is
stuff.
actually something that I mentioned before the show started to Ryan. We were upstairs talking. Is I'm going to go out, probably especially this winter when they're looking for big fish, easy, and
Yeah.
just throw big swim baits, 8,
Yeah.
9.
Do it all the time.
Yeah, it's no secret the oak mulgi. I
Mhm.
mean,
Yeah.
Big swim baits, big fish, big
Yeah.
shoalies. Yeah.
No, it's the big bait game, especially like the less they see it, the more they respond to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially anything that they're going to get a chance to look at, like
Yeah.
a big bait.
One thing that I think kayak fishing may lose in the future is now that there's so many options for rigging. There's different types of motors. You've got active target, live scope now, but I think people tend to forget, like with kayak fishing, you can really sneak up. So number one, you're in these areas where there aren't a lot of people, right? That's
Mhm.
just given. You're accessing areas and spots that don't have a lot of pressure. And then number two, you got to understand, like, you can shut everything off and you can sneak up on fish that are deep in cover, shallow water
Yes.
fishing, like high percentage areas. You can sneak up. And I'll never forget, I had a tournament with a guy. We went to the same spot. And that's actually, if you guys have ever heard of senior bass fishing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So we were at a
Bring that
tournament.
post up, Ryan.
Which
Big
one?
shout out, El Senor.
Oh yeah, hey, big shout out to him. He's a great guy. But I'm going to spill his juice because I know he's not watching, so I don't care. So, but we had a tournament, and we were using the same type of blade bait, chasing after the same fish. We ended up in the same spot. He ended up in like second or third. I was like down in like 12, 13, something like that. And I said, hey, what were you doing? He said, I shut everything off. Just use my pedal drive.
Correct.
I shut the graph off because he said all the fish we were chasing were like above 8 feet of water. And they were right there schooled up. He's like, I just shut everything off. He's like, and when I had my opportunity, I saw them. I just pedal up and drop it down. And that's when he'd get hit. So
just keep it quiet.
Yeah, keep it quiet. Yeah.
Yeah, there's something to be said for being able to sneak back into those creeks and not have all that running.
Yeah, you come in there, sonar banging away and all that stuff. There's someone else at Fish North Georgia that's been known to do that. Push a button.
All the time.
Push a button if it's you, Ryan.
Let's see. My PB Wisconsin bass was 8 pounds on an 11-inch jerkbait.
Who knows Isaac Delgado?
That's my brother, man.
Well,
what is it? Oh, hey, buddy. Hey, Isaac. That's my brother.
Yeah,
hey, Isaac. Thanks, Ryan. Oh, man. That's my real brother.
An 8-pound bass in Wisconsin. That's that's a serious fish. And an 11-inch jerkbait.
Yeah.
What were you really fishing for?
That's a serious bait, too.
Yeah, that's serious.
Speaking of gigantic bass from the North Country.
Oh, yeah.
You know where we're going? Everybody's seen that 10-pound smallmouth came out of Erie.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yep.
Yeah.
How ridiculous was that?
That
fish?
was huge.
That is. I mean, it almost looked square. Like it was as wide as it was long.
I don't know if I believed that all the way until the pictures came out of the guy pulling it out of the live well.
Mm-hmm.
And it took up like the entire opening of the live well coming out.
All right, here we go.
So,
Josh Tatum. Can y'all run through what boats y'all use?
oh yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I use a Vibe.
Go ahead, Mr. Vibe.
Vibe Shearwater 125, Motor Guide XI3, Garmin 93 SV, fish finder on it. Let's see, power pole, shallow anchor power pole.
You got a power pole on there?
Oh,
Really?
Yep. It's an 8 foot. It's a spike. It drops straight down.
you just get the PVC.
Because I don't have the remote control of the piece of PVC. And especially fishing the rivers, that power pole really.
I think he was insulting him.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Now, fishing the
Stung a
rivers,
little
I
bit.
get the power pole really plays when I fish
Yeah.
the
You like
rivers.
that? Like over
Yep.
a chain or something?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I've heard like it's not as. Do you ever have any trouble with it? Like, if the bottom's too hard or no?
No, like it might take a couple of feet for it to get sat down,
Yeah.
but when it drops, it tries to reposition itself 3 times.
Okay.
And then once it hits that hard bottom on the last time, it'll stay there. And if I drag a couple of inches or something like that, it'll get locked in. Yeah.
So
I don't.
You're working with 2 remotes on the kayak.
Yeah.
You got
One for the XI3 and one for the.
I'm not that coordinated.
No, that
spells trouble.
Not
Well,
that coordinated.
that spells
actually-
trouble. I'm telling you, man. You're on the kayak, and we'll talk about spotlight in a second on the kayak because that's a special thing too.
Yeah. But with the power pole, it actually
boy.
comes with 2 operating systems besides the remote. You've got the buttons on the battery pack. You've got the remote control, but it also comes with another little,
Like a touchpad.
like a touchpad. And what I've done is I've screwed it in right beside the seat. So my remote control is usually in my dry storage, and I just reach down there and double click the button and
Slap
it
it.
drops
Oh, there
it
you
for
go.
me.
Okay.
there you go.
Yep.
Why a Vibe Shearwater? What's your favorite part about it? Because I had that boat
The
too.
options. The options being able, first of all, you look at the price point.
Yeah.
Lifetime warranty.
Yeah.
Local, here based in Kennesaw. So the people are great people. Miriam, we talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
Great people up there, always doing whatever they can for charity and stuff like that. But the options that come with the Shearwater, being able to go from the X Drive, the Vibe drive pod to a Hobie, if I want to drop a 180 in there with the kick up fins or whatever, I have those options to upgrade.
I feel like a lot of people don't know that though.
Oh,
Yeah.
that part. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you can do that successfully with no issues.
Yeah.
none. And then you've got who is it? Yak Gadget came out with the different pod to
Yeah.
drop down in there if you want to. I mean, there's
There's a lot of toys.
it's
for
so
it. I
versatile.
mean, that's any boat though. There's a lot of toys for.
Yes.
Anymore.
Now,
yeah.
Like,
Now, yeah.
But-
now.
But when Vibe came out with the Shearwater, that was
At
one of
that-
the
at
first
that-
boats that had
Yeah.
all the options.
that was the first boat that I think was one of the first that had all three, like easily like
Mhm.
drop in compatible.
And the power pole on the Shearwater comes with the mounting bolt or the
Yeah,
mounting
that's
holes
like
already
amazing.
there.
So
So
you're like me. You want to rig the boat, but you want it to be super easy. You don't want to work.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
I want to be able to drink
Oh,
a bunch
dude,
of beer
yeah,
while
I
I do
know.
it.
Yeah, I don't want to work to rig stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I wanna,
That's
I
why
wanna
we
fish
go
the
to
boat.
that's why we go to Mike Minifan at Westbrook Supply.
Yeah. Mike, rig this, please.
Yeah. Hey, buddy.
Hey, man.
What about you, Luis? What are you driving around?
So for the river, I'll use the Vibe Seaghost 10.
Okay, you're still riding the 110?
Yeah,
Good for you.
I've got the 110.
Great
and then,
river boat.
Yeah, and then I've
Great
got like a yellow fin that's like 9 foot for like my my wife or family
Yeah.
or whatever.
Mhm.
But then for the lake or the reservoirs, I'll take my Native Watercraft Slayer Max Propel. That's got the XI3 and then the 9-inch Lowrance FS9 Elite with active targeting, and then and I still keep the pedal drive on it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still keep the pedal drive on
Backup's
it.
important.
Yeah.
The redundancy.
Always having a backup.
redundancy.
Got to.
The backup is
Yes.
just as important as safety.
So I have been stranded on Lanier in the middle of the summer. So just having to paddle back, you
Yeah.
know, and that motor is heavy sometimes on that,
Yeah. No, it changes.
on that kayak.
It changes the way the boat handles.
Yeah, that was a
Like-
rough day. So yeah, rigging is everything. So yeah.
Dashawn?
Crescent. It's what is it? It's a LT, Crescent LT. Easy to rig, can get on the lake and I can get on the river with it. Nothing fancy, just like a regular. I can throw a tiller handle on there real quick. I wanted to do XI3, but
Mhm.
I don't know. I just couldn't. I couldn't pull the trigger. I couldn't justify that one, so I didn't go with the XI3, Helix 8, Mega Live, and then pretty much just pack everything up.
Crate and whatever else to
Yeah, I mean,
throw
it's,
stuff in there.
I just wanted to go real simple, so
Yeah.
that was other than me going crazy with the graph part. That was pretty much the.
It's a
simplest
smart
I could
thing to go crazy on, though.
Yeah.
With your
Well-
40% discount.
With your 40
No. Actually, I do not get none of my graphs from Bass Pro.
Okay.
They just, I don't know. Humminbird does not have a good sell, and it was kind of like when I went
They
with
probably don't want to
Humminbird-
be giving them away for 50% off.
No, but like okay, so like Garmin, like the 93 SV,
Mhm.
what was it selling for?
$6.99.
Right.
$5 or $6.99.
Before when I bought my Humminbird, I bought it full price. I probably would have even never went Humminbird if I would have knew that I could have got the Garmin, a
Mhm.
9-inch too. At the,
Yep.
And
And that thing looks beautiful on my kayak.
about the time I bought my Humminbird, they dropped the bomb on that, and I was just like, oh, I can't go back and switch.
Yep.
And so I stuck with Humminbird, and I like it now. Now I won't go back.
You didn't have anyone to tell that you had a problem and it wasn't going to.
I didn't have nobody to like talk me out of it and be like, yo, you need to go return that and get this. This is better. So it was
Yeah.
like everything the decisions that I made was like me on my own, and I didn't have nobody to really like
Yeah.
be like, yo, what should I do? Or
Yeah.
somebody be like, you should do it this way. So
What was it like when Active Sonar first came out? Like, who knew? Like, it was all so new.
I was the guy that was always against it. Be like, oh, they're cheaters, man. Come on now. Now I'm the guy that's sitting there like, oh my god, he's coming up, about to eat it.
Yeah.
So, babe, just to let you know, my fish finder's really not working out. I think I'm going to have to, to pull one out of Lewis's book there.
This worked pretty well. So
Yeah.
Someone that knows nothing about kayak fishing, what would y'all recommend for someone 6'1",
Oh,
6'5",
man.
289? Farm, I will put you in my new canoe pursuit any day of the week and you'll be just fine. or like an unlimited.
I'm gonna agree.
Tatum's off camera here, like waving at me saying demo, and I'll say that's absolutely true.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that. Yeah,
I'll pile into the last question. I float a New Canoe Pursuit with an XI3 on open water. Eventually, I'll put a Helix 7 on there. I've been super lazy and haven't rigged my sonar on it yet. It's a big reason I fished rivers all summer. And then I also, for river fishing, kind of lightweight, I float a New Canoe Flint. And funny story about that to tie into Josh telling me to demo and telling people to demo. I got the Flint from a good friend of mine, a frequent float partner, and he hated it. He's like, "Oh my God, it's terrible. It's so tippy. It's so unstable. I can't fish it. Like, it's the worst. If you want to try it, like, I'll sell it to you cheap. Like, if you end up liking it." And we floated. I borrowed it from him. I floated the Etowah, and I was like, "Oh, this thing's amazing. Like, it's fast. It's in and out of on like rivers that have more than one line. It's in and out of lines. It's easy to cross over. Like, it tracks all right. Like, stability is good. Like, I can stand up and fish out of it, no problem. But it's like that, and it's like stability is like the big watchword in kayaks. Everyone, stability. How stable is it? And it's like a lot of the times it's how stable are you?
Yes,
it's not how stable is the boat. Like, and it's how you experience it. Like, I thought I fished out of the Seaghost 130 for ages. I stood up, walked around on it. Like, a stable boat to me. Like, New Canoe's different. Like, it's got different lines. Like, it is a more stable boat, but it's the way there's so much variation from hull to hull. With kayaks that like they're all a little more unique. Like a bass boat, it's more about how it's going to ride on plane. Like, once you set it down, like, you're not worried about how much roll it's got or anything anymore. Like, a modern hull is what it is. Oh, shut up.
And here comes the bass boat guy chirping in from the back.
You're 7 feet tall, Ryan. Of course you experienced that.
Blow up.
Yeah. Well, it's like a bass boat, like, hull design is more about what it does when you're under power. And like, yeah, I mean, you've got draft and whatnot, like, that's important, as I argue with Ryan off camera. Like, there are things that are important, but it's more about when you're under power and less about when you're fishing, I would say.
Some of the holes, the V hole type boats, you get a little wobbly on them if you get a little rough water and then you start like trying to run around the boat. They'll lean. You'll lose your footing if you don't watch it. Old Tritons are pretty bad.
There's leaning though, and there's like
flipping.
And there's flipping.
Yeah.
You know.
There's leaning and there's flipping. Don't worry about the flipping.
And then it's flipping with all your gear.
It's all your gear. It's yard sailing everything.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So
I can imagine what you went through.
Oh, dude. I lost in that. Like I said,
you yard sailed your boat
on the Chattahoochee during our tournament up there for GAKFL. Yep. I flipped. I lost 2 of the Plano, the yellow, the
edge boxes.
The edge boxes.
Yeah. With all your juice.
I lost one of those, had all my jigs in it. Like all my jigs.
Jig box gone.
Because it was funny because I found some stuff floating on down, but that one, because it was all jigs, straight to the box. I lost my terminal tackle box. I lost my chatterbait box. All those. I mean, I lost over $1,000 worth of just lures.
Did you lose a rod?
I lost 1 rod. I thought I lost 2. I lost my Duckett Insight rod, which was my favorite chatterbait rod. I love that thing.
Well, it's a good thing you lost the box.
Yeah.
But that's one way to put it, man. Way to go.
We're searching for silver linings.
But then I thought I lost one of my Shimano SLX rods. It was a medium heavy jig rod, but it's the fat blank that's on it, the really thick one. Come to find out, that rod floats. And I found it pinned up against the rock about a half mile downstream. I jumped out. I damn near flipped my kayak again trying to jump out and get the rod.
What about you, Luis? Have you had an unplanned?
Oh, man, I don't even want to talk about it because it hasn't happened. So we're not going to go there. What,
That's why this table is made of wood.
what I'm going to say is, so for river setups, what I am genuinely interested how you guys approach the river, because for me, like this year, let's see, I fished the Broad, the Okmulgee, and Savannah, and it's 2 rods and 2 tackle boxes, and that's it. That's it. Water for the
That's all
day
you
and snacks. That's literally it. So I
all you need.
always have that fear of,
Yeah.
flipping, hitting a rock down the current and losing everything.
So one of the things that I've learned since then,
I'm a risk taker. I've usually got a lot of stuff in
Yep.
the boat. Not everything, but
I strap
a lot of
stuff down
things.
now. Like my tackle box stays strapped. And the problem was it was strapped down. It never left the boat, but the flap on the top of it was open.
lid was open.
So when I flipped it down, it fell straight out.
Oh my gosh.
So, but now I keep my rods. The rod that I'm using and maybe one more laying in between my legs.
Yeah.
But the other ones are on the lay down spot on the Shearwater 125.
Oh, yeah.
I can put 4 rods right there.
Yeah, you can,
on each side. So
you can tuck them in and strap them in.
yeah, and I strap them in now. Like I said, 1 rod in my hand, maybe one. If a follow up bait right here, that way I can pick it up real quick.
Yeah.
But everything stays strapped down now.
There you go.
It depends. It depends what river too. Like I used to fish the Coosa a lot, and the Coosa certain spots are like super, super, super deep. So if I go to the Coosa, I'm pretty much taking my whole lake setup, like trolling motor, 8 rods, fish finder. If I go to the Hooch, then I diet down. I'll take a trolling motor. I won't even take the crate. I'll just take the tackle bag, and then I would probably take like 3-4 rods, maybe, and they're all sitting up front with me.
Oh.
And if I go to Sweetwater, then it gets even skinnier. Then I'm not taking half of it. I don't take the trolling motor. I only take 2 rods. It's gonna be a jig rod and something with a moving bait that I can throw different stuff on, and barely take a tackle bag. Probably take like the little Plano box. That's it.
Tray at 3700 or something like that.
That's it. And I just throw like a mixture of like crap that I know I'm probably gonna throw. So
So we'll swing back to that here in a second. We'll
You know where you can get some great baits at?
I do know where we can get some great baits at. So George, when you need to refill your chatterbait box or your jig box,
Absolutely.
After your next yard sale,
Yep. I went down
you
there.
can head over to Buford Dam Bait and Tackle.
Yep.
That's Dave and his crew there at 2595 Buford Dam Road, Cumming, Georgia, right up the street from Little Ridge Boat Ramp, which is open and free.
It is open and free.
And
for real.
yeah, man.
I like that boat ramp.
I didn't know that.
And dog friendly if you want to, take the pups down there. It's a good place to be. It's the gas station's got good breakfast burritos. It's a good spot.
Yep, it is.
Dave and those guys, man, they've got everything you need. Live bait. They were posting. They got some big size trout coming in
this morning. They got a shipment.
So striper bite should be taking off. We got cold weather coming. Hopefully going to start to lock in some of these wintertime bites. They got herring. They've got trout. They've got minnows, crappie minnows, crawdads in the spring. And they got obviously walls full of baits. They got True Grit tackle on the wall there. They got Lanier baits, all your favorites, a lot of local stuff as well. And trout TNT, if you're going to the river and you want to catch a stringer of rainbows, even a few flies on the walls, crappie jigs, they have everything you need, nothing you don't. 2595 Buford Dam Road, or you can give them a call, 706-429-7211, Buford Dam Bait and Tackle. Proud sponsor of the Livewell. We're happy to be working with them. Point at the sponsor, George.
There it is.
Right there.
Boom.
Right there. And we mentioned Lanier baits because fruity worms rule. And it's getting to be that time. November 18th. What's significant?
The hod
swimmer. The hod swimmer. If you need the OP Chrome hod swimmer, Lanier baits coming soon.
Custom painted ones.
To a tackle shop near you. It's going to be a wicked pisser. And of course, our friend Ms. Rachel Collins, 400 Homes. If you're dreaming of lakeside living, looking to buy or sell, have an excellent buying or selling experience, with a professional who will give you the one-on-one service that you need to have a successful real estate transaction. Give her a call, 770-310-0599, or reach out to Rachel at 400homes.com. She's a proud sponsor of the Livewell. She's one of our very first and a friend of the show. That's her right there.
There you go.
All right.
All right.
Now,
Do we have a question you're going to...
all right. Plans next season, next year. What each of you got in store? What is your plans? What are you fishing?
Oh, man.
Where are you going?
Who's fishing what next
What are
year?
you doing next year?
All right.
I want to hear it.
Ryan wants to know what we're doing next year. This year isn't over yet.
Smallmouth. That's all I got on my mind. Smallmouth.
Smallmouth?
Yeah.
Got to get it off the board.
You never caught one?
No.
No way.
I went to Blue Ridge. I fished in North Carolina, and the lake that we were supposed to fish, it was called Nantahala, and it has smallmouth.
No, dude, Nanny's got some.
And I had to go to drill, and I was so mad. And I'm not gonna say like I didn't want to go to drill, but I was gonna AWOL. I was gonna, but it was a 2-week drill, so if I AWOL, they was gonna come get me. So I had to go to drill. So
Speaking of drill, Marines,
Army.
Army.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uncle Sam.
Don't worry, I fish on base too. So if we're not doing anything, I fish on base. Just hope that my sergeants are not watching this. But I do fish on base.
Maybe they
Ball
fish.
stomping.
Maybe they fish too.
No, they don't. They always call me looking for me.
They
Yeah.
do not.
They do not
Just
fish on base.
Get up to Wisco soon. I would. If you want a smallmouth, Wisconsin's a good place to catch one.
Good drive.
I can recommend a guy in Sturgeon Bay that'll put you on them
I want to put myself on one before I go with somebody else.
before you go with.
Yeah, I want to just put myself on one smallmouth, and then if I take a guide, that'll be for my bigger ones.
The
Jonathan,
accomplishment.
we'll
For
talk.
PB.
We'll talk about Fight Club off air. Fight Club's a fine place to catch a smallmouth and a big one too. If you want one that just looks like a smallmouth, you can float down below 285 to Paces.
Oh,
There's brown fish down there.
well, I went 2 Paces, and I did not have the best trip ever. Almost died at Paces.
What happened?
We almost flipped. We ran in. Me and my buddy.
Was this a river conditions at Paces, or did you meet people at Paces?
No, it was river conditions. Well, it was terrible. I fell in, had water all the way up to my neck. My buddy was coming off of a shoal, full speed, and ran straight into me with his kayak, and I was sideways.
Oh man.
Oh no!
And
Sideways.
he
Torpedoed you.
Yeah, he snatched like a $300 rod off of the kayak, and then he told me I was lucky that he got it. I was like, yeah, you really was lucky because you was gonna be paying me for that rod.
You were lucky that you got it.
You was definitely gonna be paying me for
What
that.
time of year was that?
Bro, it was like 3 weeks ago.
Oh,
Nobody seen the post because that's
the one day that he
the
didn't
only
post.
day I did not post anything. It was just
That-
all around bad day. It started off bad and it just ended bad. So
everybody has them, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It goes sideways.
We
You
just
gotta
talked about
fight it
mine
out.
on the air.
yeah,
So,
Yeah.
you flipped.
Yeah.
The only thing about that day is I was just fortunate not to lose anything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's different.
Paul, what are your plans next year? I'm interested to hear this.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
where are you going?
I'm gonna try to fish some at AKFL in the winter. His winter schedule is always interesting to me. I'm gonna try to fish more tournaments next year. I don't know, for whatever the reason, I just didn't fish. I was ready to do the full GAKFL slate this year, and it just never happened.
Well, I remember we were talking about it. You were going to come down.
Yeah,
and
no,
stay
we
in
were going to go
Seminole.
down to Seminole,
Yeah.
and like I had weather and just a bunch of random crap, and it just like kept interfering with all those dates. So I'll probably see whose schedule drops. Obviously, pretty much everyone fishes several series. GAKFL will probably be my number one, and then I'll look to double dip on some Peach States or whatever else is out there. I don't know. Maybe Fish North Georgia needs to start some onlines.
There you go.
You know,
there you go.
Yeah, that would
Fish
be,
North Georgia online series.
yeah.
That'd be cool.
Let's do a little monthly online like Dugout.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's get something going there. I'm looking to do that. I definitely want to get to saltwater next year. I want to do at least a little bit of inshore, some redfish, some trout.
We should make a trip. We should all
dude.
get together and go.
I haven't been
Red-
out there in
Dude,
a
go down to
minute.
like St.
Yeah.
Mark's or something
Mhm.
and just like annihilate them.
Yes. St. Mark's.
St. Mark's. What? Ryan's raising his hand.
Do you have a question?
Nah, I
Civic-
was like, I don't know what the hell that is.
It's down in the Panhandle.
Yeah.
It's getting rained on right now.
Yeah.
Not the best time to go on a
that
kayak.
and
right
everything
now.
else. So I'm probably looking forward to that. I would like to get up into Tennessee, North Carolina, explore a little more up there.
Yeah.
Those fisheries are just epic right now. Especially the striper, muskie, you're taking off up there in a big way. Like I'd like to do some big game hunting up there.
Yeah.
Bass fishing's fun, like, but it's not really my number one. Like, I'd probably rather chase like stripers or like something big, something mean.
Flathead.
Flathead, dude. I'd
Yeah,
love to
flathead.
catch one on a kayak.
Did you see that flathead that came out of Lanier?
Mhm.
They said it was
Paul-
60
Pauly
pounds,
Marks.
but yeah,
That
Paul
was a
Marks.
giant, dude.
They said somebody said it was 60. There's
no
no
way
way. That thing was
60.
80 to 100 easy.
Yeah.
No, it's probably 50 something.
No way.
You think it?
No way.
You
John
just hold it up
Allred.
like that. You need like two people. To
John-
to
John-
hold one up.
John Allred caught that 53 pounder in Lake Ackworth, and that thing was
It was big.
that was big. And the one that
big.
Paul caught was 1.5.
No, that was a tank. That was a big. There's some big flatheads in Lanier.
Oh yeah.
And they're. I don't know if few and far between is right. We'll have Terry O'Shaughnessy here next week, and he can tell us how common they are. But
Yeah.
I mean, Lanier's never going to be, Tennessee River impoundment or one
Coosa.
of the South Georgia's. Coosa's got big ones.
Coosa has huge. I always hook them when I go to fish the Coosa. You can't go without catching a flathead in the Coosa.
Yeah.
They're always. I always.
Dude,
get
they're
one
sporty
down
to
there.
catch. They're super fun.
Yeah, they'll sit there and pull, drag, and strip, and you'll think you had a striper or a big spot, and then it comes up and it's slime all
You're
over the
all
line.
disappointed.
Yeah, you're really
Well,
mad.
I mean, at least they don't like death roll like a blue
No, they don't
do
or
that.
like a channel where it's just kind of they roll 8 feet up the line.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So yeah, Dashawn said something interesting a second ago that I'm gonna ask, and it'll be something we can all kind of cover. So you go to Sweetwater and you cut way down and you take 2 rods in one box. What's in the box? We haven't really talked about like what kind of
Yeah.
fisherman, aside from saying like power, finesse. Like,
If I go to,
but like if you got your druthers, like
when
what
I
do
go
you-
to
what's in the
Sweetwater, the
box?
only thing that's in the box is literally swim baits and jigs. That's it. That's all that's in there. I mean, that's all. When I go to Sweetwater, I pretty much keep a jig in my hand the whole time. I used to take 4 rods, but I was just using a jig. So swim baits and jigs, pretty much all I use. And then I'll take a couple. I might get fancy a little bit and take a couple chatter baits and spinner baits, which I don't throw chatter baits, but I'll take a spinner bait a lot. But swim baits and jigs is pretty much all I throw when I go to Sweetwater.
How do you set your jig up?
Different ways. Sometimes I use chunks, or I've been using missile bait lately, so I'll take those and cut them down. I just use the regular D-bombs.
There you go, Luis.
For a big bite.
Oh yeah.
If I'm on the river,
When
I'm-
when you're cutting down, what's in the
When
juice?
I'm cutting
what's
down,
kind of in
alright.
the juice box?
so I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's working so far, so I'm gonna say it's a good thing. But I always start off with we were talking about Rapala, the
Yeah.
ripstop, 3 inch,
Yeah,
3-inch jerk bait. Great in current, shallow current. It sometimes you worry about that jerk bait getting caught, and
yeah.
well,
Well, you pop it, it like slams in the bottom. You're like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
that
So
cast is
so that one is absolutely perfect. It throws light, and it's perfect for clear water situations, in my opinion. And then a Chapo, like a translucent white Chapo. So
Yep.
that's been working really well for me. And then if the bite gets tougher, I'll go with X Zone has these 3-inch crawls. I think it's called the muscle crawl, but they've got the floating claws. Yeah. And then I'll go with a shaky head, either in watermelon or green pumpkin. And then always have black and blue soft plastics, always for those spots.
Like even in clear.
Even in
You're
clear.
Black and blue.
Yeah.
Like a believer.
I'm telling you, man, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I haven't found the reason, but there have been some days where it's like
probably a lot of dark colored craw in that water.
Man, I'm talking about, baby blue skies, no breeze, nothing. You can see through the water perfectly. Just throwing that black and blue, and that's the only way I can get a bite. So
yeah.
Sometimes they're about it.
Yeah.
George, what's in the juice box?
I'm always going to have a jig tied on. And here lately, a spinnerbait has been.
Blaze.
I've just been. If it's not a spinnerbait, then it's going to be a underspin.
Yeah.
With a 4-inch Kitech paddle tail on it. Easy shiner, not the swing impact.
Oh, there's some real.
That's my jam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, Shell Nut said I second that ripstop. That makes me feel good. So I feel better.
Shell Nut's been known to catch a fish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shell Nut just locked up AOI in GKFL, I think.
After floating down a river, how do you get back? Depends on the setup.
It depends on the river.
Yes.
Some of them, like some places, you can paddle up, maybe jump a shoal or two, and kind of keep going and just float back to where you began. Most places, it's kind of better to have a 2-man operation. Find a good reliable float partner. You get 2 vehicles. You either take down to the bottom, leave your drop your pickup vehicle, put both kayaks on your other car, take that back up to the top.
Yeah.
And float down.
And if you have to go, a lot of times I have to go back up. But if you have a pedal drive, a reliable pedal drive, and you're experienced,
yes,
that's a major.
Yeah,
even in some of the shallower places,
yeah.
you can still run a pedal drive through there, get through the shallows, and keep going.
I'm used to being on paddle power, so
yeah,
it's kind of either jump or you get a good drag strap. And
so, what, Lewis? Circling back, what are your plans for next year?
Don't forget your keys.
Funny story
about that.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Everybody's done that. I've done that.
Yeah.
I did that. I did that on the Tacoma.
That actually happened to us. I had to. This was the worst Uber experience I have ever had. We had just finished the Broad River. I had just caught my first smallmouth. Super excited, and we get back and it's like no keys. So we had to Uber back to the first car. But here's the thing: the guy shows up in like this old, super sketchy Prius, and he drives it all the way down to the boat ramp, he's going down to the river into the water, and he's messaging me, I don't see you guys. And we're just like watching him, like trying to wave him down. And I said, where are you going?
It's a submarine.
He's gonna submarine y'all back to the truck.
Those hybrids, I guess. But yeah, I'd like to do the Georgia Bass Slam again.
Mm-hmm.
So this year 5 species. Next year I want to go for 10.
You're gonna go all in the Grand Slam.
That's a major,
the Grand Slam.
That was so much fun. That's a major priority, and that's the thing about kayak fishing in Georgia. You have so many species that you can target that are not available in other places. But want to do the Georgia Bass Slam again.
Yeah,
and want to go back to
same.
Yeah.
Again, congratulations to both y'all. By the way,
thank you.
That's an awesome.
No, mine's not official yet.
Yours
is, I think.
But yeah, I'd like to get up to Tennessee.
Yeah,
and get after some smallmouth, some muskie, and then definitely go back to the Broad River, Savannah, Okmulgee, Flint.
Yeah,
and
the Flint's epic. Like that should be. Like I don't care what kind of bass fisherman you think you are or you like to say you are. If you have not fished the Flint River in Georgia,
I've heard great things.
It is a must
Missing
do.
out.
Yeah,
it is a must do.
Tournaments for sure. Georgia kayak fishing and some peach angling. Yeah, Love the
two
tournaments.
kayak
We got 2 kayak questions. We got any juice about the new Bonafide?
Oh,
Nah?
Nope.
I don't have any
Nothing
juice.
yet.
I haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
Really.
kind of juice.
What kind of juice?
What kind of juice? New Sholey. I know a couple guys that have them, and they like them
Yeah.
tremendously.
Yeah. Same here.
Very Crescent did really well with that boat. I haven't demoed one yet. I keep telling Josh no. Because I don't need another kayak.
Another boat.
Because I don't
That's actually not true. You always need another one.
Yeah.
Yo,
Always.
dude, I try not to hop too much. I know some guys do. There's always another one coming that's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's the one kind of cool thing about being in a kayak is because the cost is a little bit lower. Like you can try a lot of them.
Yeah.
You know, it's not such a gigantic. It's still a significant investment, but it's not a life-altering investment to jump from one to the next.
I always consider kayaks the best way for people to get on the water that want to be on the water.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, absolutely.
That's if you don't want to buy a boat, get a kayak, practice, watch safety videos, watch YouTube, check your safety before you just go and buy one and run out there. You know, like I did when I bought mine. First place I went, it was Christmas. I got mine for Christmas. I went straight up to Rocky Mountain PFA. Never been on a kayak before. That was right out there. So not the best way to go about it. I had my life jacket on the whole time. Didn't have the right type of life jacket. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the orange.
No, I had one of the.
Oh.
The orange May West.
No, it wasn't the orange one. It was.
No, not the orange.
It was more like a jet ski life jacket.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? So I thought, oh, that's good. It's nice and skinny. It'll work. But then I found, like the Chinooks NRS. Oh man, life changers right there.
Yeah, no, a paddle specific PFD is
Yes.
amazing. Huge difference. Like I think a lot of people shy away from like wanting to wear them when they first get into kayaking because they think of the orange.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They think of the orange like
Yeah.
in front of your shoulders and whatnot. Like, why would I ever wear that? It's the worst thing ever. Like, I'm to the point out, and I've got like an inflatable belt.
Yeah.
And I don't wear it. I'd rather wear my foam vest.
Yep.
And I'm just, I don't know why. Like, I've know guys that float auto inflates, and I'm just paranoid about like when the rubber meets the road.
That's what you got, right, Dashawn?
Like,
An auto inflate.
Yeah.
That's what you run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got
and
an
you
auto
you
inflate.
got y'all have faith in them.
I've
I got
had it
faith in
blow
them.
up on me one time.
Was it supposed to blow up on you?
Tell me what you were doing so I can avoid
He
that.
was in the middle of a cast.
Nah, it was when I was getting off the kayak and I took it. Normally I just walk all the way up to the car and just jump in there. For some reason I took it off, and when I slung it back into the kayak, it went straight into the water.
at least you know it works. So,
It went in the water, and
that's
that's
why
when
he
it
trusts
inflated.
Dude, it didn't even go. It didn't,
And
like,
that's
normally-
why he has confidence. in
Normally
it.
they're supposed to go under a little bit, but it didn't even go under. It was just sitting on top of the surface and just blew up. So
that's why he trusts it. There you
Yeah,
go.
That's-
absolutely.
yeah,
Didn't even need to go under.
I got a backup though, so
Yeah.
just in case it won't be too.
See,
late, though.
that's I got scared. 1,000 years ago, there was a guy that posted on like GON forum. He went in the water on Sinclair, and his vest failed to inflate,
Mhm.
Oh man.
and that stuck. And it was in like December or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that stuck with me. And I was like, the foam vest, like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
still
it's
in-
ready. It's ready
Yeah,
all
you
the
don't-
time.
There's no question.
Like,
And they're the ones they're making now that are kayak specific. You have everything in
Oh,
there.
yeah, like,
pockets
it's all
and
like
stuff,
right there.
yeah.
Pockets
Line
for
cutters,
days. Like,
apply everything
like
you
those.
need. Yeah.
I've
the
got,
winter time too. It's like it's another layer.
It is another
Like,
layer, yeah.
oh
Help
yeah.
keep you
Yep.
warm.
I've got my boomerang, my snip tool. I've got it attached, so I just take
yeah,
it
stuff
straight off.
hanging
And
everywhere.
if I'm changing a bait or whatever, a lure out, bam, everything is right there.
Yeah.
My phone's there when I'm ready to take a picture for a tournament. Pull it straight out of the pocket.
Like
Ready
the
to go.
lanyard.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
I got one for y'all. So I've had this happen with spotted bass. They're wild. You get them in the kayak, they will not stop.
Oh,
No, they will not.
And if you got trouble hooks, and I know you like to fish that ripstop,
Yeah. Yeah.
how do you avoid not getting hooked? I already got hooked twice today. And then
today.
today. And then
Today.
you remember last time I had the whole hook whopper popper go straight through my finger.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's because you were fishing a whopper plopper.
Yeah, but no,
Whopper plopper will hook everything.
The whopper plopper is the
No.
person hookingest bait ever.
Yeah.
It
Like
is.
I've
It is.
never seen a bait that bites more people than a whopper plopper.
Yeah.
We gotta think like if you're gonna. What I learned quickly about kayak fishing is like you've got, and it's so obvious, but you forget sometimes you got limited space.
Oh, limited.
Yeah,
So you really have to be aware of your outside surroundings and then inside as well. Like especially when you're landing a fish, like if you're netting a fish, you have to be careful. You'll start tipping
You'll
over.
lean a little
So you
bit.
get that access.
So
point.
Yeah.
for me, like I had to get the
Well,
right net and then a long set of like, what are they called?
I use like hemos.
Yeah.
Or do you
Yep.
are you pliers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pliers and like I keep it on the bow and I
So
just
it's- yeah,
take my time.
anything
Yeah.
with trebles for me, like he's in the net, he gets unhooked. The bait with the trebles goes over the side of the
back
boat.
in the water.
Yeah.
Back in away
It
from
goes
my
away.
away from my legs, because when I'm taking a picture on the board, my legs are right there,
Yeah,
and I have had them flip and catch the line as they're jumping around.
that's the
and
only
hook
time I
that
got
treble in
I
the
got
leg.
hooked for real. That's how that happened.
I'd be
Like,
boat flipping them with a jerk bait, and I just
In a
No.
kayak.
I can't do it. I
In a
can't do it.
kayak.
I can't do it. No. There's a
dude,
guy,
I can't either. Like once
Cody-
you flip them, they're
Yeah.
buck wild. There's hooks everywhere. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
I have lost.
I'm not confident enough a lot of the times with the jerkbait fish. Like I'm not confident enough to try to flip him anyway. I'd rather net him.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I'll net a couple of them, but I'm so lazy to get my net, dude. I'm just be like,
Look, I don't throw my bait in the water anymore. I can't. So I was doing a tournament at Hartwell, and my favorite crankbait, like the Fritz side, like I was tearing them up with that thing, and it was the only color I had was like the orange crawfish color. So I tossed it in the water, and I'm sitting there trying to measure the fish and trying to get the board in the right place. Y'all know how it
Mhm.
is,
Yeah.
Then you got to get your phone out, take the picture. Well, it got wrapped up in my trolling motor.
oh,
Somehow. And man, I had to go like find a spot, get off the boat, like
No, especially if
Unwrap
you're
Fiddle, yeah.
especially if you're using the spot lock
yeah.
on the trolling motor.
Yeah, I had that spot lock running.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
another thing to be careful of is if you've got that spot lock going, you're sitting around not paying attention, fishing, casting out. That thing will kick on and jump you right back. A couple of feet right
Well,
up. to where
I
it
think
was.
anybody who has spot lock, even on a big boat, like
Yeah.
has had that experience.
But
Like
if you're on if you're on the kayak and you
It's
find
more-
that
it's more
waypoint
dramatic.
and you hit that spot, it's gonna jerk you around. If you're not, yeah. Unless you're directly facing the wind, then
Yeah.
you're a little
it's
safer.
it's
yeah.
much more dramatic with the
Yeah.
kayak.
I always stop mine. I'll turn my motor off before I get there, coasting, and then once I get where I want to be, then I'll hit the spot
Yeah.
lock. That way, I'm
That's
almost
why I
gonna
leave
stop.
the pedal drive in still. Like that's why I still leave it in.
Like for the brakes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fair. But yeah, the spot lock ambush is part of. I don't have spot lock on mine, and it's kind of part of why. I think I'd rather try to just hang it on the prop and jive,
hmm
and hold a waypoint that way than have spot lock, because I know that I won't be paying attention one day, and I'll be like standing there like a dummy, and it's gonna go. Oh, we need to be over there now.
Yeah.
And the boat's gonna go one way,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna go that way.
I've
I'm not gonna go with the boat.
It can be a
I've been
nightmare.
sitting there fishing, had the spot lock on, and out of nowhere, wasn't ready for it at all. But I saw that trolling motor head turn and got
You just-
back to center just in time before
Yeah.
it kicked off to the side. It's like, whoa,
Yeah,
Yeah.
You gotta-
guys
you gotta be ready,
You guys
man.
fish standing up or sitting down mostly?
both.
standing.
standing up.
Yeah, I'm usually
Standing.
standing.
Yep. I stand, and that's why it was weird for me when you said that you didn't feel like the shear water was stable.
Yeah.
Because I'm 5'9", 245.
Yeah.
You're a little bit taller, but you weigh less. You look like you'd be a little bit more agile. But for my shear water, I can literally crawl,
What got
walk
me
out to the front of the boat, and
what got me was the screen on the side, and then also having like a few other things on the rack as well. Like it was starting to lean a little bit too much for me.
yeah.
So
And I noticed that also because I've got my power pole on the left side.
yeah.
I've got my graph on the left side.
Yeah.
My battery's centered, but everything, because I cast right-handed,
Yeah, you want to have that.
so I don't have
gotta trim it out.
anything on the right side of my boat. Everything's on the left-hand side, and I catch myself scooting over in the seat a little bit
Yeah.
to balance that out.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So I've never like thought that deeply about it. Like I've always thought like the kayak to me, like boat handling has always been like, it's a study. It's like wave motion, right? Like you can do whatever you want along the long axis of the boat.
Yeah.
And you got to be careful about whatever you're doing
The side to side.
on the shore, the side to side.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of guys, like you do the lean, like you,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and all of a sudden your head and shoulders sneak out over the rail, and
Yeah.
it's a very like a maxim you hear a lot in like kayaking in general, where your head and shoulders go.
Yep.
Like you're gonna follow.
Yeah.
The body will follow. You got out over the rail, like you get in trouble.
Hardest technique to fish from a kayak has to be a deep crank and a jerk bait.
I don't believe that.
Jerk bait,
Jerk bait,
not the jerk-
no,
not the
no,
jerk
jerk bait,
bait.
not at all.
Deep crank, probably.
Yeah.
Deep crank, yeah.
Did they sell deep crank? Really? I spend most of my time cranking. Maybe I'm just used to it. I don't know.
Like
I mean,
I think, well,
I
you've
don't
got
think
if you
so.
got spot lock and whatnot, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Because the boat like handles itself, but anything that creates a lot of drag wants to pull the boat out of
Yeah.
position.
I'm
Yes.
thinking from, yeah.
Yeah,
You're right.
it's like I remember my first like winter fishing. Like I pulled bait for stripers almost exclusively. I didn't have any electronics. I didn't have anything fancy. Like I just pulled flat lines. And I got into a fish and like. And he laid the rod back and I got him and he must have pulled me 100 yards. It was like, oh man. And it wasn't a big fish. He was like a 5-7 pound striper, maybe.
Yeah.
He's a 2-footer. He's a cookie cutter. And like it like dawned on me, man, he's towing the boat and he's not having any trouble with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
no trouble.
He got out in front of me and just boom. And he was pulling me right along. I was like, oh, like it doesn't take a lot. Even with like the big like modern kayaks, like it doesn't take a lot to like get that boat moving.
Now I've had a striper pull me up river
Oh, yeah.
against the current.
No, doesn't surprise me.
yeah, it's
like
Yeah.
this big Etowah river fish.
Oh God. Oh, they're fire too.
Yeah.
Summertime whopper plopper on the lower Etowah.
Worst thing is catching a fish too close to current.
And he pulls you off your line.
And you're starting to get pulled off into the current. Now you're sideways.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
See, I think the thing for me is like you hook one and he pulls you like into the cover.
Yes.
And it's like, man, I really would have liked to have caught 2 out of here.
I have that happen all the time.
He pulls you right up to it. Ah,
Well, no need to make another cast. Just go ahead and leave.
I
the
caught,
spot's done.
I caught one wrap me in a tree on the lower Etowah,
There we go.
and it was right in the current. So I had to paddle back up. I was already on the other side of the tree. I caught him on the front side, got pushed around to the back side while I was floating him. He's hung on the front side. I paddle up and literally held on to the branch and crawled up to the front of my boat. That way I could reach to the other side and pull him over. You know, talking about sketchy. No, that was
okay.
that was a couple weeks before. You're talking about sketchy, trying to fight the current, hold onto a branch, grab a fish.
Yeah.
Jason Scarda, to me, hardest techniques are the slow finesse, Ned rigs, Texas rig, drop shot.
Yeah. If you don't have a motor, I mean, or
Well,
a reliable pedal drive, it can be
tough.
super
I
hard.
don't think that's tough. Drop shot.
I mean, for
Drag, the drag shot.
Yeah, because
Like-
like if I'm coasting, I just sit there and just hold it.
yeah,
That's all you got to
yeah.
do at that point.
but to stay on a certain point.
oh yeah,
like,
you're not gonna stay on it. You got to
to
keep
stay
it
on
on
that.
that.
If you're staying
You
on
gotta
cover, brush
reposition
pile,
yourself.
you're
Especially
constantly
if you
moving.
catch one, because like
Yeah.
we said, they're going to pull you off. You got to be
Yeah.
able to
Well,
reposition.
That's
yourself.
the way we fish here too. Like we
Yeah,
think of
paddle only. Okay, yeah,
yeah. The way we fish here, like we think of being on one spot and not covering ground. Like a drop shot, like if you're structure fishing a hump or a point or something, as long as the direction of your drift
Yeah.
is effective and like kind of keeps you on that structure, you're okay. But if you're trying to isolate a brush pile,
yeah,
you've any wind at all, like
yeah.
you're off.
you're on the waypoint, you get one good drop, Eh.
That's it.
And you better get him quick because you're gonna move. I think paddle, like I was paddle power only for a long time. Like you got to learn. You play the wind.
Yep.
Like you say, when I come off as soon as you come off the paddle, the boat's going to do what it wants to do at that point. So you kind of get oriented to the wind, and the more you're in that boat, the more you get a feel for what it's going to do, and you can jive. You're like, okay, if I give it this much speed, like I can hold this spot for at least long enough to be effective before I'm going to like take off and go in a direction I don't want to go in.
Yeah.
If it's a windy day, I'm not even in this without my motor. If it's a windy day, I'm not trying to fish humps or anything like that. I'm going to find me a rock wall, something like that, and I'm going to use the wind to push me down the wall as I fish. Yeah.
Try to hide. Yeah, no, you learn
ways to
how to get in the lee of things like very quickly.
Yeah.
The first tournament I ever done, Lake Gunnersville. I went over there with Steve Owens. What is that? The Tennessee Kayak Valley or what?
TVA.
TVA. Yeah. Went over there and I was fishing with a bunch of people. Gunnersville, first tournament I ever fished. I'm in my Seaghost 130, paddle only, 30-mile-an-hour winds, white caps, and the people I was fishing with. I'd never fished a tournament. The people I was fishing with, they all had pedal drives and all that. So they're like, "Oh, we're gonna go down here. And we're gonna fish this big open area." I was like, "All right, good deal." Yeah, that was. Eventually, I just let the wind push me as far as I wanted to while I was fishing, and then fought it all the way back to the ramp.
I learned that lesson the hard way too.
That was rough.
Yeah, I've had some really frustrating days.
That was the first winter I fished. Like I made a lot of mistakes early, not bad ones, but just little ones.
Learning.
Yeah, no,
Easter eggs.
And I was out drifting bait, and I had a following wind, and it wasn't too bad, and it was about the right speed, and so I just rode that following wind. Like I started at like Mary Alice and Baldridge on Lanier, and I drifted, and I just like rode that drift probably until like I got across cross channel, like the very back of one of those creeks, and I was coming back to Little Ridge. And I turned around to come back, and I learned that wind was way stronger than I thought. And it was starting to pick up for the afternoon, and it was brutal it was probably blowing 15, 20 miles an hour by the time I was bearing back into it. And it was not fun.
Another thing on that, just a little tip, if anybody is interested in getting into kayak fishing and stuff like that, or kayaking in general. If you get into an area like that where the wind's pushing you really bad and you don't think you're going to be able to make it back or something, the closer you get to the shore, the less that current and wind affects you most of the time, especially in the river areas. You can get out of that current most of the time.
Yeah. Well, a river's always got somewhere to eddy out. Like you just have to kind of stay aware of it. Eric Payne, big glides 2 ounces or greater seem to turn the boat when you cast. Interesting. I mean, if you're just if it's open water and you're letting it rip, I could probably see that. The best thing to do would be to point the boat just directly at your target and be casting down the long axis of the kayak so that like the motion is along kind of where you have the most stability. And a river, I mean, even a big river, like, or big river as we think of it here in Georgia, like you would be doing more of a lob cast and just letting it eat.
Yeah.
And just kind of minimizing that motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even then on the retrieve, it's going to pull the boat. So
I mean, you're going to move around some. Yeah. That's just kind of part of the game. Like, especially anything big, like like you're in motion. You're in motion all the time.
Yeah.
And it takes getting used to. Jason Scarda, we're going to laugh, but he will throw a heavy drag bait sometimes to position every now and then. The topwater crankbait. Yeah.
Crankbait. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
When I was paddle only, I'd throw that deep diving crank and get adjusted.
If I'm fishing.
So, I mean, the concept there, Jason, isn't terribly different from deploying a drag chain.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where you're not trying to really actively anchor. Like if you stop, it's cool, but like as long as it slows you down to a manageable speed for fishing, like it's the same effect.
If I'm throwing a crankbait and it's pulling my kayak in the direction I'm throwing, every once in a while I'll turn around and throw a cast out the other way just to turn the front end of the boat around
a little
then
bit.
go back to casting the other way.
So yeah, no, I don't think that's like out of hand at all.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so it does, like on a wind driven fishery, like it does get frustrating though. Like you're trying to hide and cast in the wind and work all that. Like,
Yeah.
And then you just try to get into a pocket to get out of the wind. And you know there's no fish.
but
in
yeah,
there.
you know there's no
You're
fish
just
there.
in-
You're like,
you're just out of the pocket,
you're
out of the wind.
so tired of fighting it.
Yeah.
You got to go where they're at though.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's part of why it's part of why you get a kayak. It's part of why you get a boat. It's part of why you do like any kind of watercraft. You want to go where they're at, you know?
There are so many small waterways like Sweetwater, Harley Creek over off the Etowah, tiny little
Yeah.
20, 30 foot wide, 8 foot deep channels in the center of them. Rocks.
It
There's
takes-
so many places to fish in a kayak where you
It is-
can just wreck them.
Yeah. Well, it is, and like people say all the time, like I was on the Chestatee this summer. I caught like the last group that came down from CRA. So it was like me and like a few other dudes, and I was like the last person to take out at the end. And they were asking me right where Uhula Creek came in. They were asking me, "Oh, you catch anything?" And like right then, I lucked up and I caught a big spot, like an 18 or a 19-inch spot. It was good, solid fish. And it was like jaw dropping for them. There are so many pieces of water, like, and I would recommend this again, like even for guys that consider themselves, I'm a serious like hardcore boat bass angler. Like, if you have looked at a piece of water and wondered, hey, are there fish in there? Yes.
Yes.
If you have looked at a piece of water and wondered, hey, are there big fish in there? Probably also yes.
Yeah.
Like the size and like how alive a lot of like even small rivers like the High Chestatee, like it's not a big place.
Mhm.
And it's alive. There's big fish in there. Like you'll see
Yeah.
big carp, like your turtles all over the place. So there's just the amount of life that's in that little like small place is astonishing. And like you can catch some serious fish
And
out
they
of
never
like,
get fished for.
yeah, out of rivers that
They
you could spit
never
across.
get fished.
Don't
Like
get pressured at all.
Yep.
yeah, they act like they've never seen a bait because they haven't. Like
Where I live on the lower Etowah, right there at Harley Creek, you can go up Harley Creek through Plant Bowen property, the power plant out in Cartersville, all the way almost to Rome or Murchie. Like I've followed that river, not paddled it or fished it, but on like Google Maps, I have followed that little creek all the way up. I mean, it's ridiculous how far it goes up. And I've caught my PB spotted bass was over 5 pounds in that little bitty creek.
in nowhere.
Yeah.
It's crazy the way they show up too.
Mhm.
Like that's that. I think we talked about that on the OC, the Okmulgee. Like
Yeah.
you're sitting there and you look and like all of a sudden there he is, and you're just
Yep.
like, oh, that's
or there may be a few just right there.
Yeah.
And it's like,
you look and you're, oh man, there's a 5 pound shoal bass right there,
Yeah.
and he's 2 feet away. You didn't see him, and he's just kind of looking back at you like, yep, been here the whole time,
You're
dude.
there.
Like. Bet
Yeah.
you wish you were smart enough to
And
fish
just,
for me.
yeah,
Like,
just the cast first before you got up on them.
yeah,
Yeah. That's
God,
that happens a lot.
the times I've
Yeah.
done that.
Yeah.
it's wild, dude.
Well, I'm just like, man, it's not a fish right there. Then I get over the top of them. Like,
Right.
And there he is.
Yeah.
Or hitting one side of the bank, like if you're on a river, hitting one side while you're up against the other side, and then you float past something. You're like,
Yeah.
really? Are you serious?
Ruh-roh. That was one of the biggest trout I've ever seen on the hooch. I ran him over on like a sandbar twice. I saw him 2 days.
Twice.
2 days in a row.
Yeah.
I saw the same fish.
The same spot.
Yeah, same fish. He was out there in the early morning just catching some rays. I had never seen a fish before anywhere on those like sandbanks. Never. For all I knew, like all my experience, I had major hours on that river, and it was like they're never here. There's never anything here. This is a dead zone. Like I move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And I just looked down and it was like, oh. And he looked up and he's like, oh, bye. And he jetted. He was like, It's like some of the things you see like that are always
But
crazy.
now when you go by that spot, do you cast out there every time you go past that
Not every
spot
time.
just to make sure?
But you wonder.
I want to know. No, you better believe
You
I saw
wonder,
I saw where his hidey hole was though, like his daytime house. After he has his morning coffee and his like constitutional on that sandbar, I know where he goes after that. Love fishing inline spinners in creek. Inline spinner, like we talk. There's a Fish North Georgia thing. Like we talk about spinnerbait versus chatterbait.
Yeah.
The inline spinner is a concept. Like I know a lot of people think of that as like a beginner bait. Like only beginners throw rooster tails.
Shoot.
I was
Who's-
big on it.
Who's still going? Who's still like?
You can throw a rooster tail and catch fish. I don't care where you're at.
They bend easy too.
Yes.
You get a couple of them, they will bend easy.
Good luck, Jonathan. So, I don't know.
So speaking of spinner baits and inline spinners, when do y'all throw spinner baits versus chatterbaits? Dashawn, you said you don't throw a chatterbait at all.
I'm trying to this year, but it's not something that I'm used to throwing. So I'll throw a double Colorado blades before I throw a chatterbait.
There you go.
And then
All
I'll
of them.
Water
like that.
displacement.
All of the thump.
Yeah.
I don't fish around a lot of grass to rip that chatterbait through. So I mean, I'm usually more in scenarios with like fallen timber.
It still works.
blowdowns
It still works.
blowdowns. Yeah, I
You
mean,
just got to work the edge a little bit more.
yeah, absolutely. But I love banging that spinnerbait around. Like I'll throw a Z-Man. They've got kind of like this thin. It's got a real thin skirt.
Yeah.
And I'll
see
just
through.
Yeah.
Especially if they're really chasing smaller profile shad and they're really active on like those days where it's breezy but it's still sunny and that flash just pulls them in. Yeah, just banging around. Yeah, I love doing that.
See, I'm a blade guy for sure.
Rarely throw
Like-
chatterbait now.
Like I don't have anything against it. I've caught some of my best fish on chatterbaits. It's just not something I reach for. Like if I get those windy conditions on Lanier, obviously that's like primo.
Yes.
But like I think it's too because the spinnerbait tends to snag less.
Mhm.
So if
You can throw it into more structure.
Yeah, if you're
Yeah,
river
that's true.
fishing or something like that, like you can put it somewhere nasty.
Yeah.
You can work it through that blowdown
Yeah,
versus
yeah.
around the blowdown.
Yeah. I mean, you can pick your spots. I think it's a cool thing. Another cool thing about like kayaking, like boat positioning, right? Like
Mhm.
with a big boat, like you can only come at that blowdown so many ways. Like with the kayak, if you're like, hey, I want to go in 6 inches of water and fish this like from the shallow to deep,
Yeah.
and you can really take advantage of like angles that you don't have or can't get
Yeah.
with a big boat to like attack complex structure.
I'll throw a chatterbait. I don't know why my mind is set like this. I throw a chatterbait in springtime. I don't know why. Not that I don't like a spinnerbait, but I'm a chatterbait guy during the springtime. But as soon as it starts to warm up, that's when I swap over and I'm throwing a spinnerbait the rest of the year.
There you go.
Let's get some social media handles here.
Oh, we want to get some social media handles.
Social media.
We're
handles.
getting about to that time. So, do you want me to shout out JNS and then we'll?
Yeah.
Okay. So as we're winding down here, we got one more excellent sponsor we would like to thank, and that is JNS Contracting Services and his new venture, Elite Pressure Washing. They've been in the business 23 years contracting. If you need anything done, Jason Sayers, friend of the shop, friend of the store, friend of the show, 706-816-2049. Give him a call. He'll get you taken care of in fine style. So
where is he based out of?
Yeah.
he's local.
Is he
Canton,
local
isn't it?
Yeah.
Canton? Okay, so not too far from Cartersville.
He'll be fishing the Toyota series next year.
There you go.
Oh,
He'll
nice,
be fishing
nice.
Toyota. So his fellow angler,
And
Oh.
a little side job.
his little
Yeah.
side job, side hustle.
Nice.
Elite landscaping. I need some both of those things actually. Like, badly. I fish too much to want to take care of my landscaping.
My God. The leaves in my yard right now. I keep looking at them and I'm like, I'd rather be fishing.
Dude, I got home from work last Saturday, like got out the blower, cleared off my driveway, and like got ready to go meet friends for Georgia, Tennessee. And like
which was an excellent game, by the way.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Very enjoyable. And like by the time I had like cleaned up and changed clothes, it looked like I had not touched my driveway. It be that way sometimes.
Yeah, I got an oak tree in my front yard I hate.
So let's get to the NASCAR portion of the show. I will start on behalf of Fish North Georgia. Obviously, Fish North Georgia on Facebook, Fish North Georgia on Instagram, Fish North GA on TikTok. Ryan, are you ticking and talking?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh wow.
We're
Patreon thing.
You guys are keep.
we're Patreon now as well. Is that Fish North Georgia or Fish North GA?
Fish North Georgia on Patreon.
Fish North Georgia on Patreon.
3 levels of subscription. You guys can get it all.
Check us out. We'll give you more information about that coming up. We got True Grit Tackle, obviously, Facebook and Instagram as well. And
all online orders for True Grit Tackle from now until the last Thursday night show before Christmas. Order online at truegrittackle.com, not Fish North Georgia, truegrittackle.com. You get a discount.
Uh-oh.
All right, you get a discount. It's Jigs Giving 22.
Well,
Jigs Giving.
And
Tis the season
and if you spend over
to be jigging.
$50, your name will be entered in for a year's supply worth of jigs. You will get about 3 to 4 on average jigs every single week.
Okay.
No, you will not get 150 of them at once.
So you heard it here first. TrueGritTackle.com. Orders over $50. You have a chance to win a year's supply
that is solid.
of jigs.
Yeah, that's solid.
And those are some pretty dang good jigs to have a year's worth of.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's all that was in that jig box that I lost when I flipped.
As a juicy box.
That
Then.
was a juicy box. Every color, shape, size you could think of.
So, George? Pro staff us with your pro staffs.
Not a lot of pro staff. I am on the Fish North Georgia. Thank y'all very much. I appreciate that. Instagram, at Great Georgia Outdoors. Great Georgia Outdoors Facebook page is mine. And that's it. Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, you're an easy one.
Yep.
Luis?
Yeah, super easy for me on Instagram. It's actually North Georgia Fisherman, so North GA Fisherman on Instagram. Yeah,
and that's it.
That's it.
I
Just
most
just about everything is on IG for me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Run us down, Dashawn.
Mine is on Instagram is DJ the Bassmaster. TikTok is DJ the Bassmaster, and then Facebook is just Dashawn Johnson.
You got anything to say about that hat or that hoodie? Or
pro staff.
Shout them out, dude. Just run them down.
Pro staff with Z Pro.
What do they do?
Lithium batteries.
Okay.
Lithium batteries. Pro staff with Z Pro. Crescent's fishing team. Sort of kinda.
Sort of kinda.
Yeah, sort of kinda. They don't really have a fishing team, but Drew was like, just tell them that you're on a fishing team. I was
well be.
Okay, so
he's on the unofficial official fishing team.
Yeah. X Zone lures, Venom lures.
Oh yeah, if we're giving shout outs, I definitely got a shout out.
Shout 'em out,
X Zone lures for sure. And
okay.
And then my boys over at Cast, of course. Absolutely. So yeah.
So there we go. I guess I should get my licks in too then.
Yeah.
Stealth rod holders, True Grit Tackle, Captain Max. Hi Mac. To that, we're going to be talking next week. We're going to have a special episode, special time. We're going to be going off on Wednesday at 7 p.m. We're going to be talking striper fishing in a big way. We have lined up probably one of our fishiest, saltiest panels ever. We're going to be in studio. We're going to have Mr. Jeremy Mullinax from Backwoods Fishing Guide. They've been on with us several times. They specialize in carters, but they are striper fishing fools and they are fish killers.
They won SBA.
Did they?
Yes.
Outstanding. Outstanding. We're going to have Mr. Alex Green. He's been on before. He's a river rat and a big bait specialist. We're going to have Terry O'Shaughnessy. He's a Jersey cat. For those of you that know him, he's a night fisherman and a day fisherman. Check out his YouTube channel. He is a fishing fool, and if he is a legend on Lanier at this point. Jerkbait fisherman, bombers. I mean, night bite. He's that dude. And then last but certainly not least, Mr. Henry Cowan is going to be joining us remotely to kind of represent the fly fishing community, fly fishing for stripers. So we found 4 guys, know their stuff, 4 different kind of approaches to the game. We're going to put them all in the same place at the same time, and we're going to let them talk about.
Let them duke it out.
Let them talk about what they do, how they do it.
That's a good lineup. That's good.
And we're going to let them go deep and tell fish stories and hopefully have a good time. So we're really looking forward to that next week. Again, that's going to be a special episode on Wednesday night at 7. And we hope to see you guys there. And we thank you all for joining us this week here on the Livewell, talking a little plastic boat fishing. And gentlemen, thank you guys for joining me.
Yeah.
Enjoy
on
it.
short notice.
Always good to be here.
Hey, we'll have you back up sometime. For y'all that are out there, weekend's coming, fall's coming, woods and water. Get out there and make it happen.
Safe.
Have a good time. Be
Good luck.
safe.
Good luck.
Have fun. Good luck. We'll see you next week. Take care.